Chapter 130. The kiss on his face was intimate and hurried. Xinyu could feel the strong uneasiness coming from Shang Junlin. It was the first time he personally experienced such a big emotional fluctuation from Shang Junlin. "I'm not sick." Shang Junlin's lips were pressed against Xinyu's forehead. His breath sprayed onto Xinyu's skin. He grabbed Xinyu's hand and placed it in his palm. "I'm not sick. Why did your Majesty suddenly say such a thing? I'm just an ordinary person. How could I be the immortal that your Majesty mentioned?" However, Shang Junlin couldn't listen to him now. He was trapped in his own conjecture. The more he thought about it, the more reasonable he felt it was. If you're not an immortal, how could you know so many things? How could he know that it would rain in Subei? Which one of the things that Xinyu took out wasn't unprecedented? Xinyu opened his mouth and found that he couldn't explain it. The matter of his rebirth was too shocking. He hadn't thought about whether to tell Shang Junlin. This was the biggest secret buried in his heart, and also his biggest trump card. However, he soon heard the main point from Shang Junlin's words. "It's raining in Subei?" The shocked expression on his face didn't seem to be fake. Shang Junlin stared at him for a while. "Shouldn't you have known about it long ago? Why would your Majesty think that I knew about it long ago? If your Majesty hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have known about it. Wasn't it you who made it rain in Subei?" As he spoke, Shang Junlin stared at Xinyu's face, not missing a single change in his expression. "Why would your Majesty think so?" Xinyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How could I make it rain in Subei? The time was set by you." Shang Junlin finally regained some rationality and sat down on the couch with Xinyu in his arms. Subei sent back news that after the execution, there was a heavy rain in Subei. The rain lasted for several days. Now the disaster in Subei has basically been alleviated. Why does your Majesty think that the rain has something to do with me? Xinyu raised his eyebrows. Because the time was too coincidental. It happened at the moment when the execution ended. Shang Junlin rubbed Xinyu's fingers. When the news came back, his first reaction was that the rain had something to do with Xinyu. Otherwise, how could he explain why Xinyu chose such a time? At that moment, he was very glad that he didn't expose Xinyu when he gave the order. Then, fear welled up in his heart. All kinds of mysteries were connected, and he increasingly felt that Xinyu was a rumored immortal. "Your Majesty, the rain in Subei really has nothing to do with me. I just checked the ancient books and found that there is a heavy rain in Subei every year at this time. So I set the time before the heavy rain in previous years. If it doesn't rain, it won't cause any loss to us. If it rains, there will be more room for manipulation later." Xinyu didn't want Shang Junlin to continue with this dangerous idea. He knew this man. If he really believed that he was an immortal who could leave at any time, he didn't know what he would do. And this sentence wasn't a lie. It was just that he had an extra memory of his previous life, and was sure that it would rain during this time of year. As for the specific time of the rain, it would be after the execution, which he didn't expect. "Your Majesty, if you don't believe me, you can read my notes." In order to calculate a relatively small range, Xinyu had checked a lot of things about Subei during this period of time. He also copied down the time of the autumn rain, and combined it with the later records of his previous life, to deduce the approximate time range. Xinyu's manuscripts were placed not far away. Shang Junlin's thoughts came back and remembered that Xinyu had asked him for books. "You asked for so many books at that time for this? Otherwise?" Xinyu looked at him reproachfully. "Your Majesty, shouldn't you know that I have never liked to read these? I thought you had changed your taste." When Xinyu mentioned it, Shang Junlin remembered that for a period of time, Xinyu had stopped reading novels and turned to books that recorded the situation of various places. Xinyu took the notes and put them in front of Shang Junlin. "Your Majesty, take a look at them yourself." After Shang Junlin finished flipping through the notes, his tightly knitted brows gradually relaxed. "At that time, I thought your Majesty would ask." Xinyu saw that Shang Junlin was no longer tense, and the stone in his heart was slightly lifted. He complained half-jokingly. "If your Majesty had asked at that time, I could have asked for a reward. What does you want? It's not too late to say it now. When the matter in Subei is over, your Majesty, accompany me to the farmstead to stay for a few days." Every year at this time, I will stay for a few days. Shang Junlin was feeling guilty, so naturally, he would do whatever Xinyu said. Ayu has worked hard, Shang Junlin hugged her again. But I'm afraid that I can't make public the role that Ayu played in this matter. This matter was too mysterious. If it was spread out, Xinyu would be pushed to the forefront of the storm. It was not a good thing to be the focus of everyone's attention, especially because of such a mysterious matter. The common people feared the gods, but there were also some bold people who had thoughts that they shouldn't have. Moreover, there were still several forces hidden in the dark. They were enemies and not friends, so Shang Junlin didn't want to risk Xinyu. Even if your majesty didn't say it, I would have asked your majesty to hide my existence. Moreover, I didn't do anything. Xinyu always knew that gossip was a fearful thing. This matter could be said to be big or small. Hiding it from him was far less important than keeping it mysterious. It had to be said that this rain really came at the right time. The timing was so coincidental. If he didn't take advantage of such a good opportunity, it would be a waste of a God-given opportunity. The rain was very heavy, but no one complained. The people in Subei were almost crying with joy. There was also a kind of unreal feeling. They had waited for so long for the rain, but at this moment, it fell unexpectedly. After a long drought, there was no one who wasn't happy about this rain. Fang Jun was a very clear-headed person. After a moment of shock, he quickly realized that this was a very good opportunity to win the hearts of the people. The rain didn't stop for a day and night, but the rain became lighter. The cracked earth absorbed enough water, and the flowers and trees on the roadside also glowed with new vitality. The people, either wearing bamboo hats or straw raincoats, walked in the patter of rain. They felt the rain that didn't come easily, and also talked about the rain that they had been looking forward to for a long time. After waiting for several months, it finally rained. Yes, but do you think this rain is a reward for the court for punishing the corrupt officials? I think so. Otherwise, why didn't it rain earlier or later? Why did it rain when the heads of those corrupt officials fell to the ground? Disregarding human life, death is not to be regretted. The whole of Subei was talking about this rain, and the officials who were punished were also talked about. Originally, there were still remnants of power that wanted to stir up unrest, but after the rain, many of their subordinates ran away. To make matters worse, quite a few of them went to the government to report them, all for the sake of alleviating some of their sins. Because of this timely rain, the power that Lord Ho and the others had built up in Subei for many years was easily disintegrated. Let alone stirring up unrest, they should be thanking the heavens if they weren't arrested by the government. Fang Jun had issued a bounty, and the people of Subei had already decided that the drought was a punishment from the heavens for these corrupt officials, so they had no mercy on the remnants of power. If it weren't for them, would there have been no drought in Subei? This was what everyone thought. The news of Subei spread from the capital to all parts of the Great Huan. When the people who had been paying close attention to the disaster in Subei heard of it, it caused a great uproar. In the restaurants, tea houses, streets, and alleys, every place was talking about this matter. Have you heard? It's raining in Subei. Now we don't have to worry about Subei anymore. It rained after the corrupt officials were beheaded. Say, do you think the previous drought had something to do with these corrupt officials? Speaking of this, do you still remember the rumor that some time ago, there was a rumor that the drought in Subei was caused by dissatisfaction with His Majesty's methods, and was deliberately causing a disaster? How could we not remember? That's simply nonsense. Not to mention anything else, even if they were really dissatisfied with His Majesty's methods, why would it be the drought in Subei and not the capital? The capital is clearly closer to His Majesty. They just want to deliberately smear His Majesty's reputation. I don't know what their intentions are, but when His Majesty sent people to behead the corrupt officials, the sky immediately started raining. It can be seen that even if the heavens are dissatisfied, it's not with His Majesty, but with those dog officials. Ever since His Majesty ascended the throne, our lives have indeed been getting better and better, and we don't have to worry about the enemy troops attacking the city gates at any time. I also don't understand why there are always people smearing His Majesty's reputation, saying that His Majesty willfully slaughters the innocent. saying that His Majesty is cruel and heartless. But ever since the new year, His Majesty has punished everyone who deserved it. If you say that punishing the guilty is also willfully slaughtering the innocent, then I have nothing to say. Now that you mention it, it seems to be true. Then did His Majesty also have other secrets when he killed the officials? At that time, who didn't cry out for imperial censorship? What happened in the end? When looking at things, you can't just look at the surface. Whether those words that slandered His Majesty in the past were true or not, it would be good if the imperial court could also give an explanation. Doesn't the government have a suggestion box? How about we ask? As soon as these words were spoken, the surroundings fell silent. In the blink of an eye, the government received anonymous inquiries from the people. Those anonymous letters that could be solved by the subordinates would not be brought to the imperial court, but this matter was clearly not something they could control. They also wanted to know if there was any inside story. After thinking about it, the officials spoke of this matter during the morning court session. The officials looked at each other, mainly because there were many among them who didn't know the inside story. If there was really some inside story, then it would be fine, but if there wasn't. Hiqingyu, Jiang Huiqing Feng Jiai, I leave this matter to you. Don't let me down. This subject obeys. No one thought that Shang Junlin would leave this matter to three inexperienced officials. Some people subconsciously wanted to stand up and refute, but they were pulled back by the people beside them. It was obvious that he wanted to put Jiang Huiqing and the other two in an important position. They had never been able to influence His Majesty's decisions. Didn't Your Majesty plan to send the three of them to Subei? Why did you leave this matter to them? Xinyu was clear about Shang Junlin's plan. Official Fang would be back soon with his people, and the officials sent by the imperial court would also be leaving soon. Don't you want to know who the mastermind behind the rumors is? You will know soon. Shang Junlin did not directly answer Xinyu's question. Does Your Majesty want to use this matter to force that person to take action? Xinyu asked. Seeing that Shang Junlin's reputation, which he had painstakingly accumulated, was being removed one by one and in turn made him more loved and respected by the people, how could the mastermind sit still? Chapter 131. It was clear that he could not sit still. In a certain private residence, a trembling servant knelt on the ground. A pile of shattered porcelain was scattered on the ground, and a servant was bleeding. It was obvious how the wound came about. A bunch of trash. You've ruined such a good situation. The man was so angry that his entire body trembled. Only now did he realize that every step the imperial court took was aimed at him. He prided himself on being smart, but he did not even realize that he had fallen into someone else's trap. And the emperor, he had clearly disdained these things. Who was it that influenced him to bring up old scores? The man could not figure it out. No one could accept that his many years of planning had been destroyed in one day. After venting his anger, the man forced himself to calm down. Tell me, what should we do now? Kneeling to the side, his trusted aide trembled as he raised his head. Sir, this matter. He wanted to say that at this point, the matter was no longer under their control. They could only think of a way to withdraw as quickly as possible and not let the fire spread to them. But when he saw the angry face of the man, he swallowed the rest of his words. Because he knew that this was not what the man wanted to hear. The emperor gave this matter to a few brats to handle. Should I say that he trusted himself too much, or that he underestimated the enemy too much? Under their careful planning, the matters of the past had already left a bad impression in the hearts of the people. Their original plan was to deepen this impression step by step until it reached a point where it could explode. Then they would ignite it. The matter of Subei was the best fuse. Just as the last step of their plan was about to succeed, who knew that there would be a sudden reversal? Not only did it change the impression of the emperor in the hearts of the people, it also dug out the seeds that they had worked so hard to plant. Now there was no one outside who did not say that the emperor was wise and heroic, wholeheartedly devoted to the people, and was a good emperor. This was the complete opposite of what they had originally imagined. After Jiang Huiqing and the other two received the decree, they were called to one side by the Prime Minister. His Majesty has given this matter to you because he trusts you, but it is also a test. I will not participate too much in this matter. Everything depends on you. Because of this matter, Jiang Huiqing and the other two became even busier. They checked the files, understood the whole story, and announced the truth. Every step could not be wrong. Thus, a secret duel began. Brother Qingyu, have you noticed that our progress has been hindered recently? Jiang Huiqing asked as he flipped through the files. In the beginning, things went very smoothly. Later on, no one knew when, but someone started to obstruct them openly and secretly. It was all very insignificant things. Even if it was brought out, it would be treated as an accident. Jiang Huiqing was very sensitive to the emotions of others. He could feel that these people were doing this on purpose. Yes, we have. We just need to do what His Majesty ordered us to do. The rest will be taken care of. Naturally, the Hidden Dragon Guards also knew what was going on. The Hidden Dragon Guards were Shang Junlin's eyes and ears. Their discovery was equivalent to Shang Junlin's discovery. Your Majesty, why haven't you made your move yet? Xun Yu put down a white piece. In the pavilion, the two sat facing each other. On the chessboard, the black and white pieces fought intensely. We have to give them some time to catch their breath so that they don't cause any more trouble. Jiang Huiqing and the other two were in the open while the Hidden Dragon Guards were in the dark. Those people who could not sit still gave themselves away. The Hidden Dragon Guards looked for clues and caught the tail of that person. That person won't take the risk to hurt Jiang Huiqing and the rest, right? The Hidden Dragon Guards are following them. If they really make a move, I will not let them leave. A few days later, Jiang Huiqing felt more and more that something was wrong. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he was being spied on. He didn't know if he was the only one who had this feeling, or if the other two also felt it. He found an opportunity to ask the other two secretly. The three of them exchanged glances, and confirmed that they were not hallucinating. Someone was really watching them all the time. Other than Shang Junlin's additional orders, they were still working under the Prime Minister. It was only in the Prime Minister's residence that they did not feel like they were being watched. After finishing the tasks at hand, Jiang Huiqing hesitated for a while. In the end, he still told the Prime Minister about the strange things that happened recently. After the Prime Minister heard this, he ordered someone to serve the three of them hot tea. He then said, "You are not wrong. The things that His Majesty ordered you to do have affected the interests of some people. They will not let it go. However, you do not have to worry too much. Just do your jobs well." The Prime Minister's words gave them an answer, and also hinted that their safety was a problem. After confirming their suspicions, the three of them continued to work on the tasks at hand. As the investigation deepened, the past was revealed one by one. The true faces of the officials who died unjustly and thought that they were innocent were also revealed. The past that was almost buried by time was revealed to the world again in a way that was completely different from the past. The discussions about Subei gradually decreased. Instead, they were replaced by the past that was buried in time. Because of what happened in Subei, the people still trusted the imperial court. The People's Newspaper was a news channel that was directly controlled by the imperial court. The news that was published in the newspaper was recognized by the people. Once the news was published, it caused a huge uproar. I said that His Majesty would not kill innocent people. Look at the people that were killed. Which one of them was not covered in sin and deserved to be killed? I remember that after the previous Prime Minister died, there were rumors everywhere about how he cared about the country and the people. He died under the tyrant's sword because he wanted to fight for the people. After his death, the tyrant was afraid of the rumors and changed the law. But today, the imperial court is telling us that the previous Prime Minister died because he obstructed the implementation of the new law. It was because he took the wealth of the people and bought and sold official titles. Why is it completely different from what we know? This was not the only time that similar situations occurred. The people went from shock and disbelief to numbness, and then they became used to it. In the end, they even felt that it would be strange if they were not slapped in the face. It was also at this time that they realized that there was something wrong with the entire matter. Once or twice can be said to be an accident. So many times, could it be that every time is an accident? Someone said what they felt was not right. Actually, I also feel that something is not right. Think about it carefully. In the past, after His Majesty punished an official, would there be rumors that were unfavorable to His Majesty spread? Those people swore to say the so-called truth and aroused dissatisfaction in our hearts toward His Majesty. Even in the matter of Sube this time, there were people who tirelessly poured dirty water on His Majesty. Now that you mention it, I remember. Just a while ago, I went to the tea house to drink tea and heard people say that the drought in Sube was because heaven was dissatisfied with His Majesty's actions. I've heard the same thing before. Me too. The people gathered around looked at each other and found that everyone seemed to have heard this before. The strangeness became more and more obvious. After a moment of silence, someone couldn't help but say, "This is man-made, right?" If we did not know what the imperial court was doing beforehand, would we have believed those people? So, the middle-aged man swallowed. From beginning to end, there were people who deliberately aroused our dissatisfaction with His Majesty. What do they want to do? Everyone faintly had an idea, but this idea was too rebellious, so no one dared to say it out loud. Lord Feng seems to be somewhat absent-minded today. Did something happen? After court, the aristocratic family officials gathered together to discuss the matter of Sube. With so many empty official positions in Sube, it would be a lie to say that they weren't envious. They still couldn't understand His Majesty's thoughts, so they could only prepare early. It would be best if they could send more aristocratic family officials over. After chatting for a while, someone noticed that Lord Feng wasn't in the mood. In fact, it wasn't just Lord Feng. Lord Duan, who was also a cabinet minister, also wasn't in the mood. The child in my family is naughty. I'm just thinking about how to discipline him. He's already so old, but he's still causing trouble. Lord Feng sighed. The other ministers also knew about this matter. The youngest son of the Feng family had taken a fancy to a commoner girl, and was dead set on marrying her as his first wife. However, this young master had long been engaged to another daughter of an aristocratic family. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but look at another minister. Seeing that his expression wasn't too good, they tactfully skipped the topic. His Majesty has placed He Qingyu and the other two in an important position. Perhaps he will transfer them to Sube. Not necessarily. If he transfers a group of Jing officials over, the empty positions will be just right for them. It seems that His Majesty is determined to promote them. The Prime Minister also has a good impression of them. He takes them by his side and teaches them step by step. How many people in the world can receive such treatment? Ever since Shen Guijun entered the palace, His Majesty has truly changed a lot. When Lord Feng and the others first proposed to let the son of Duke Xinbei enter the palace, they probably didn't think that there would be a day like this. They originally thought that sending in a son of an aristocratic family would be beneficial to the aristocratic families. Who would have thought that it would catalyze the conflict between His Majesty and the aristocratic families? He's just a sickly person. What can he accomplish? Lord Feng's mind was preoccupied and his tone wasn't very good. Speaking of which, Duke Xinbei is also interesting. He doesn't take the legitimate son seriously, and instead treats the son of a concubine like a treasure. In the end, he produced an ingrate who wholeheartedly favors outsiders. The topic unconsciously deviated to another topic. Lord Duan glanced at Lord Feng, who was more anxious than usual and slightly frowned. In the palace, Xinyu received a visiting card from Duke Xinbei. Because Xinyu's birthday was approaching, Duke Xinbei wanted to take this opportunity to repair the father-son relationship between him and Xinyu. Xinyu stroked the edge of the visiting card. His eyes were obscure. From childhood to adulthood, Duke Xinbei had never celebrated his birthday for him. Now he remembered his birthday. Shang Junlin came over and took the visiting card from his hand. He glanced at it and threw it aside. "A Yu's birthday, I want to hold a grand celebration." This was Xinyu's first birthday after entering the palace. Shang Junlin didn't want to make him feel wronged. Xinyu didn't want to hold a grand celebration. The drought in the north of Su just passed. It's not suitable to hold a grand celebration at this time. I also don't like these things. Compared to being restrained in the hall with unfamiliar people, it's better to be with your Majesty. Shang Junlin was very tempted by Xinyu's proposal, But he also wanted to hold a grand celebration to tell the world that Xinyu was the person in his heart. He didn't allow anyone to slander him. He wanted to be tied to Xinyu in the hearts of the people. When someone mentioned one of them, they would definitely think of the other person. Your Majesty, don't you want to be alone with me? Seeing his hesitation, Xinyu walked around the table to Shang Junlin's side. He raised his hand and put it on his shoulder. He leaned closer and whispered, "Except for your Majesty and me, there won't be a third person. Your Majesty can do a lot of things for the whole day." "Anything?" Shang Junlin hugged Xinyu's waist and asked in a hoarse voice. Chapter 132. Shang Junlin couldn't help but imagine the scene of being alone with Xinyu. Xinyu's proposal was too tempting, especially for Shang Junlin, who was still half full. Xinyu could tell that he was tempted at a glance. She continued, "If your Majesty wants to hold a banquet, you can hold it on your Majesty's birthday. As for my birthday, let's just leave it to ourselves." Do you know why I want to hold a banquet for your birthday?" Shang Junlin's eyes darkened. He rubbed the tender skin of Xinyu's neck with his fingers. "I want to announce to the world that Yu is mine." Before Xinyu could answer, Shang Junlin had already given his answer. "I've been tied to your Majesty for a long time. I'm your Majesty's Guijun. No one can deny this." Xinyu tilted her head and rubbed Shang Junlin's hand. "Guijun." Shang Junlin used to think that this title was very good. Now he felt that it was missing something. "Does you want to be the Empress?" Shang Junlin's tone was calm when he asked this question. It was as if he was asking about an ordinary matter instead of an important matter like the position of the Empress. "Why did your Majesty suddenly ask about this?" Xinyu was slightly surprised. "I think the current situation is quite good." Xinyu wasn't very interested in the position of the Empress. "I just think that no one can sit in this position except for you." Before Xinyu entered the palace, Shang Junlin never thought that one day, there would be someone in his life that he couldn't let go of. Seeing that Xinyu was not interested, Shang Junlin didn't continue this topic. He just silently noted this matter in his heart, and waited for the right time to announce it. Yu doesn't want to hold a big banquet. What about a small banquet? Although Shang Junlin wanted to spend time with Xinyu, he didn't want Xinyu to have any regrets. "Your Majesty, you really don't have to think about these things. In the past, I have spent my birthdays in the manor. Why don't your Majesty accompany me this year?" Having lived for 2 lifetimes, Xinyu was really not interested in these things. "Then we'll listen to Yu." There was still some time before Xinyu's birthday. Although Shang Junlin had agreed to go to Zhuangzi with Xinyu, he didn't completely give up on holding a birthday banquet in the palace. Whatever others had, he wouldn't miss out on Xinyu. He couldn't participate in Xinyu's past, but now and in the future, he wouldn't let Xinyu have any regrets. After a heavy rain, Subei regained its vitality. Fang Jun and Sun Zhao joined forces and slowly stabilized the situation. Because of this rain, the remaining forces left behind by Lord Ho and other officials didn't manage to stir up any trouble, which saved Fang Jun a lot of trouble. With timely prevention and intervention, the drought didn't bring any more serious consequences. The epidemic that everyone was worried about also didn't happen. Before the new officials appointed by the imperial court took office, Fang Jun and the others needed to temporarily stay in Subei to deal with the follow-up matters. It was because of the efforts of Jiang Huiqing and the others that Shang Junlin's reputation among the people was greatly reversed. The stigmas that shouldn't have been placed on him were washed away one by one. The people couldn't help but start to guess who was behind all this. Xinyu knew that part of it was done by the King of Yu. In addition, there was also a deeply hidden force that had been hovering in the capital for many years. However, this force was about to be found and dealt with by Shang Junlin. With the news announced by Jiang Huiqing and the others, the misunderstandings that the people had about Shang Junlin since he ascended the throne were gradually resolved. This was undoubtedly the situation that the people behind the scenes didn't want to see the most. They had been laying the groundwork for so long in order to arouse the dissatisfaction of the people with the current emperor. Over the years, when they really wanted to do something, this dissatisfaction would play a huge role. "Your Majesty, how long do you think they can endure?" Xinyu thought that the people behind the scenes couldn't bear it anymore. He didn't expect that after so long, the outside world was still calm. They don't really dare to do anything now. Perhaps they feel that we don't have conclusive evidence and can't really do anything to them, so they want to hide and wait for this storm to pass. Shang Junlin naturally wouldn't give them a chance to do so. After all the rumors were cleared, Shang Junlin ordered people to spread the rumors among the people, and let them guess who did this. At the same time, this matter was brought up during the court session. These days we have heard some very interesting words. Tell me, who is it that has been sparing no effort to smear our deeds in the hearts of the people for so many years? In the great hall, Shang Junlin calmly sat on the dragon throne, and calmly voiced the doubts in his heart. His hawk-like eyes swept across the faces of the officials. We didn't care about these false reputations in the past, but we didn't know that in the eyes of the people, we were such an emperor. We killed the innocent, disregarded human life, harmed the loyal, cruel and heartless. With every word Shang Junlin said, the breathing of the people below him became lighter. Of course, they had heard of such rumors. Some officials who didn't know the truth even believed these rumors. After the court announced the deeds of the dead officials, they were ashamed of themselves for believing the rumors so easily. We need to know who is behind this matter. Shang Junlin pointed at a few officials. We will let you handle this matter. If you can't find any useful information, you don't need to stay in this position. Official Feng, who had been silent, felt his heart jump. Coincidentally, the officials that Shang Junlin pointed at were more or less related to him. After the court session, Official Feng ignored the calls of his subordinates and hurriedly got on the carriage to return to his fu. Why is Official Feng in such a hurry today? Official Duan looked at Official Feng's back as he hurriedly left, and his brows furrowed even tighter. He and Official Feng entered the cabinet almost at the same time. They had worked together for many years, and he had already noticed that something was wrong with Official Feng. Everything that happened outside the hall reached the ears of Shang Junlin and Xinyu. Xinyu heard what happened at Shang Junlin's court session and said with a smile, "Your Majesty deliberately let those officials investigate, right?" The Prime Minister complained that they were occupying their positions and not working for a long time. Coincidentally, it's almost time for the officials to return to Jing to report on their work. We plan to keep a group of them. It was the same as admitting that he did it on purpose. Official Feng's expression at the time must have been very good. Xinyu picked up the teacup and took a sip. When did Your Majesty discover that this matter was related to Official Feng? In reality, we had some candidates in mind from the beginning. The aristocratic families didn't support us out of sincerity. They saw that we didn't have any foundation in the court, and were easy to manipulate. Later, they found that we were wrong from the beginning. We weren't easy to manipulate, so they wanted to find another way out. But at that time we had taken back the land of Dahuan and had military power. Even if they wanted to do something, they wouldn't succeed. We didn't care about the reputation of the people in the past. It was only after a Yu's reminder that we found out that some of the conspiracies against us were set up from the beginning. More than 10 years have passed. The officials of the court have been changed again and again. There are only a few people left. The range of possibilities has narrowed down. Xinyu pondered. That's right. There are even fewer people who have the ability to do it now. After confirming the suspects, we sent the hidden dragon guards to investigate these people. At first, we didn't find anything. It was only after the rain in Subei that we sent Jiang Huiqing and the others to clear their names that we caught the person. Official Feng knew that he had been too impatient during this period of time. Even though he used the matter of his youngest son as a cover, and it was easy to find clues, he couldn't sit still and wait for death. After so many years of planning, it was exposed in one day. How could he be satisfied? When he returned to the Feng residence, he dismissed all the servants and entered the study room alone. The secret compartment was opened and he walked in. After passing through a long tunnel, he came to a small house in the suburbs of the capital. I suspect that I've been exposed. What should I do now? Official Feng stood in the empty study room and said anxiously, I'm working for you. You can't just ignore me. After a while, another person's voice came from the room. Official Feng seems to have misunderstood something. Do you still remember our deal? We helped you enter the cabinet and in exchange, you had to help us a little. Now that you've been exposed because of your own mistake, do you still want us to clean up the mess? Aren't you afraid that I'll expose you? The current emperor is not a gentle person. If he knows about your existence, what do you think he'll do? Official Feng threatened fiercely. If you're obedient, maybe we'll help you keep your bloodline on account of your many years of hard work. If you insist on telling Shang Junlin something, we can't stop you. Official Feng was shocked. He realized that the other party was not afraid of Shang Junlin finding out. Who were they? Why were they so fearless? A thin layer of cold sweat appeared on Master Feng's back. He took a step back and fell into his chair. He suddenly realized that after working for these people for so many years, he knew very little about them. He didn't even know what their identities were. You can't just ignore me. I'm a cabinet minister. Without me, who will provide you with information about the imperial court? Official Feng, why do you think that Shang Junlin will allow you to stay in the imperial court safe and sound after such a thing happened? He has long wanted to take back your position. Do you think he'll let go of such a good opportunity? Official Feng, you'd better take care of yourself. After the mysterious person left, Official Feng sat in the same place for a long time. He knew that he had been abandoned. The blankness on his face was gradually replaced by ruthlessness. He had been in a high position for many years. He was no longer the son of the first wife who was at the mercy of others. He had so many things in his hands. Could he not fight for a way out for himself? Official Feng is already in this position. Why are you still not satisfied? Entering the cabinet was already the highest position in the Great Huan dynasty. Xinyu couldn't figure out what else Official Feng wanted. Who would complain about having too much power in their hands? Shang Junlin spread out his hands. Even I am not satisfied sometimes. There are very few people like you who is not greedy for power. Xinyu smiled. He had also been lost in power, and used everything he had to chase after it. Now he was just tired of it. Official Feng must have realized that he has been exposed. Otherwise he wouldn't have acted so strangely. I let him know on purpose. If he didn't know that he was in danger, how could he seek help from the person hiding behind him? Step by step, Official Feng did as he thought, and went to find the person behind him. He didn't know that the person arranged by Shang Junlin was following him, and was brought to the secret stronghold by him. Chapter 133. Shang Junlin's actions were indeed telling Official Feng that he knew there was something wrong with him. Otherwise, he could have done what he did in the beginning and not let anyone notice anything amiss. Unfortunately, Official Feng was already in a panic and did not notice the deliberate nature of this matter. He had the guts to do such a thing, but he did not have the guts to bear the consequences. Official Feng sat on the spot for a while and quietly returned to his residence. He immediately summoned his confidants for a meeting. His confidants knew what he had done. After all, in many situations, it was not convenient for him to appear personally. At this time it was his confidants who appeared on his behalf. The atmosphere in the study was very tense. His Majesty sent someone who is clearly standing behind this official to investigate this matter. It is very likely that he knows that this matter is related to this official. He wants to use this opportunity to give this official a warning. Tell me, what should this official do? Lord Feng sat down on the chair, his face no longer showing the initial panic. What Official Feng said is only a guess. These things have not been through your hands. If His Majesty wants to punish you, you can push the blame to someone else. One of his confidants suggested. He was not lying. Although Official Feng had instigated this matter, he was not the one who carried it out. After all, he was a powerful official in the cabinet. He would not do these things himself. That's not appropriate. If His Majesty really knows something, wouldn't this be equivalent to admitting it? We have to think of another way. Unfortunately, after much discussion, they did not come up with a feasible method. Lord Feng was getting impatient, but he could only suppress his temper and continue listening. Among the officials named by Shang Junlin, there were a few who knew some inside information. In order to defect, they had also participated. Now that the emperor wanted to investigate, it was as if their throats were being strangled. They were in a constant state of panic. A few of them gathered in private to discuss countermeasures. What should we do now? Does official Feng have any orders? No. Since that day, official Feng has not received guests. I sent a few invitations, but I was not received. I'm afraid official Feng can't even protect himself now. As soon as he finished speaking, the surroundings fell into a deathly silence. It wasn't that they hadn't thought of this, it was just that they didn't want to admit it. After being in the imperial court for so many years, they had some understanding of Shang Junlin's style of doing things. This time, it was obvious that Shang Junlin was angry and wanted to investigate thoroughly. Perhaps His Majesty wants us to investigate this matter as a warning to us. Otherwise, with His Majesty's habit of using officials from humble backgrounds, it would be impossible for him to only give the task to the officials from the aristocratic families. It was precisely because they had a faint bad feeling in their hearts that they were so panicked and forced themselves to do things, personally sending themselves into the abyss. They had no choice. Everything proceeded in an orderly manner. The imperial court began to select the officials to be sent to Subei. Although Subei was remote, it was not as unpopular as other remote places. On the contrary, because of the existence of the Subei army, many people had their eyes on that place. In the past, they didn't have the opportunity, but now that the upper echelons of the Northern Su dynasty had almost been completely purged, quite a few people were moved. The recent memorials are all about selecting new officials to be sent to Subei. Shang Junlin opened one of the memorials, glanced at it, and put it down. Xinyu took it and looked at it. Subei is now without a leader. It's a good opportunity to perform meritorious deeds. It's not strange that they are being watched. Jin doesn't want this matter to happen again in Subei. Shang Junlin rubbed the space between his brows. Even if they can abide by their hearts now, it's inevitable that they won't change after a long time. Xinyu never had high expectations of people's hearts. Rather than placing hope on them, it's better to think of a way to cut off this possibility from the source. Zhen and the Prime Minister have discussed the method you mentioned at the beginning. It is feasible, but there are many problems to be faced. Every time an official went to a place, they needed to go through a period of time to get used to each other. After getting used to each other, they would be able to do things more smoothly. This was also the reason why many officials stayed in their local areas after being sent out. Subei's situation was more special. It was more difficult to get used to each other. If too much time was spent on getting used to each other, it would be detrimental to the development of Subei. Xinyu thought for a moment. He could roughly guess what Shang Junlin was worried about. He sat down across from him and rested his chin on his hands. Methods are always thought of by people. If your Majesty is worried, you can stagger the rotation of officials. Zhen will discuss this with the Prime Minister again. This matter needs to be settled as soon as possible. Feng Jun should be back soon. After dealing with Feng Darren, there would be a vacant position in the cabinet. Feng Jun had made a great contribution to the disaster relief in Subei, so he could rightfully take this position. Feng Jun had been very busy recently, very busy. Subei was seriously short of manpower, but the mess left behind by those people was too much. It had to be solved. He could only promote some local officials to help with the work. Late at night, the study was brightly lit. Several stacks of documents half the height of a person were piled up. Feng Jun finished reading one and rubbed his wrist. He finally understood the Prime Minister's irritable mood. Every day, there was an endless amount of documents to deal with. No one could stand it. Did His Majesty say when he will send new officials? After holding it in for a few days, Feng Jun finally couldn't help but ask. Not far away, a masked man wrapped in black clothes sat. The man played with the empty teacup in his hand. Darren, don't worry. The imperial court is already choosing the right people. The masked man was Gu Huai. He also wanted to go back quickly. When he came, he didn't expect that he would stay in Subei for so long. Ever since he was picked up by Imperial Physician Gu, he hadn't been separated from anyone for so long. There will probably be a wait. Feng Jun sighed. This is the first time I've been separated from Madame for so long. I don't know how Madame is doing in the Fu. Because he had a special mission, he couldn't communicate with the capital. Perhaps it was because it was easy to feel emotional in the middle of the night, but he unconsciously talked about the past with Madame. Gu Huai listened in silence, a strange emotion flashing through his eyes. Feng Jun. Apologies, I unconsciously said so much. Gu Huai. It's fine. Darren and Madame's relationship is enviable. In the entire capital, there was almost no one who could be as affectionate as Feng Jun and his Madame for decades. Feng Jun thought about it, and still sent a memorial to the imperial court, hoping that they could arrange for officials to govern Subei as soon as possible. After a few days of arguing, the first batch of officials to go to Subei was selected. They didn't have important positions in the imperial court. After going to Subei, they would have more room for development. Knowing that the imperial court had sent people over, Feng Jun sighed in relief. Darren, we found this in the residence of the sinner Ho Shi. A soldier ran in. What is it? The soldier took out the item. It was a letter. This subordinate found it in the secret room of the Ho Shi. Thinking that it must be something very important if it was placed in the secret room, I didn't dare delay, and came to deliver it to Darren. After Lord Ho and the others were imprisoned, they were sentenced according to the severity of their crimes. As the mastermind, Lord Ho's sentence was the heaviest. The residence he lived in was also confiscated. Feng Jun had borrowed some men from the Northern Sioux Army to help him search the place. He wanted to see if he could find anything new. A few days had passed, but all they found were the expected ones. Feng Jun had given up hope, but he didn't expect that they would find something new. The letter had traces of being opened. Feng Jun ordered someone to open the letter. After reading the contents, his expression changed greatly. Ever since Lord Ho and the others were imprisoned, they had been searching for the whereabouts of the stolen goods. Who would have thought that so many things would disappear into thin air without a trace? Only now did Feng Jun understand why they couldn't find the goods after searching for so long. It was because those things were no longer in Subei. Feng Jun trembled with anger. He thought that Lord Ho's crimes were already too numerous to write down, but he didn't expect there to be more. Lord, are you all right? The soldier saw that Lord Feng's expression was not good and asked worriedly. I'm fine. How many more of these letters do you have? Bring them all over. No. Lord Feng put the letter back. Where did you find these letters? Bring me there. He had to find out how much the former high-ranking officials of Subei colluded with those people. This was a serious matter. Feng Jun didn't dare to delay. He immediately found the hidden dragon guards who were still in Subei, and asked them to send the news directly to the palace. He didn't know if only the officials of Subei were involved in this matter, or if there were other people involved. Before he was sure, he couldn't let the news leak out. Through a special method, he passed the news to Gu Huai. Gu Huai would lead the hidden dragon guards to secretly investigate this matter. The atmosphere, which had relaxed because of the heavy rain, became tense again. The weather gradually turned cold. After half a year of recuperation, Xinyu was no longer as cold as before. Shang Junlin was worried that he would catch a cold, so he ordered people to make thicker clothes and send them over. Xinyu was growing, so the people from the clothing bureau came over to take his measurements. Shang Junlin frowned and waved away the palace servant who was close to Xinyu. He took the ruler from the servant's hand and walked over to Xinyu. You has grown a little taller. Shang Junlin didn't want others to touch Xinyu, so he let the palace servant guide him while he measured Xinyu himself. Xinyu looked at the palace servant who was trying to keep calm and found it funny. It's just a small matter. Your Majesty, why do you have to do it yourself? How is a huge matter a small matter? Shang Junlin followed the palace servant's instructions and measured Xinyu's shoulder width and waist. He definitely couldn't let the palace servant do such intimate contact. After measuring, Shang Junlin put his hands on Xinyu's waist and said, You should eat more. You're still so thin. Xinyu's waist was very thin, and it was usually wrapped in clothes. Only Shang Junlin knew how white the skin on her waist was. Every time Shang Junlin put his hands on her waist, the heat and trembling would pass through his palms to his heart, giving him a feeling of complete control. It made people indulge in it and unable to extricate themselves. The people from the clothing bureau got the measurements and didn't stay for long. Make the clothes and send them over as soon as possible. Shang Junlin held Xinyu and ordered. Yes. This time, in addition to the usual clothes, there were also 2 sets of riding clothes prepared for the autumn hunt. Eunuch Meng was very perceptive and left with the rest of the palace servants. When the 2 of them were alone, they didn't like the palace servants to wait on them. Actually, I don't need to measure. I know a Yu's size. Shang Junlin leaned close to Xinyu's ear and said in a low and magnetic voice, if it weren't for the people from the clothing bureau watching, I actually wanted to touch it. A Yu was exposed in front of him without any defense. Xinyu moved uncomfortably as his hot breath hit her ear. How did your majesty know? Did you secretly measure it? I know every part of a Yu's body. Shang Junlin nibbled on the young man's red earlobe. After all, I felt it one by one. Chapter 134. Many nights, he used his hand as a ruler to measure every part of her body. Since your majesty already knows, why do you want to measure it again? Xinyu held back the shame in her heart and asked. Naturally, it's to get a more accurate measurement. The clothes made for a Yu must fit her perfectly. Shang Junlin would never admit that he deliberately used this opportunity to get close to Xinyu. It was just to know his lover's measurements more accurately. How could it be considered as playing tricks? Your majesty has finished measuring. Shouldn't you let go of me now? Xinyu raised her eyebrows and looked at him. Shang Junlin had just hugged her, so how could he let go so easily? There's no one else in the room. Why should I let go of my Guijun? Not only did Shang Junlin not let go, but he also hugged Xinyu and sat down on the soft couch. A group of people has been selected to go to Subei. He Qingyu and Jiang Huiqing will leave with this group. As for Fang Jiai, Fang Jun has not returned from Subei yet. I'm not sure if I should let her go with them. Before the handover of the various matters in Subei was completed, Fang Jun had to stay. There were too many areas in Subei that needed to be rectified. Other than Fang Jun, Shang Junlin was not at ease with letting others do it. Fang Darren will return sooner or later. Your Majesty can ask Miss Fang for her own opinion. If she wants to go, it's good for her to gain experience. Didn't the Prime Minister also say that this little girl is very methodical? Subei needs new blood. After the disaster, there are many things waiting to be done. He Qingyu, Jiang Huiqing and Fang Jiai each have their own strengths. When they go to Subei, they will be able to play a greater role. As a person who had worked with Jiang Huiqing for many years in his previous life, Xinyu was very clear about her ability. During this time, he also learned about the other two's style of doing things through Shang Junlin. It had to be said that letting these 3 go to Subei was the best way for them to grow up quickly. I will ask the Prime Minister to ask her. If she is willing, she can come along. Turning around, the Prime Minister received a hint from Shang Junlin. He knew that the 3 of them would not be able to work for him all the time. However, knowing that they were about to leave, he could not help but feel a little reluctant. After finishing his business, he asked the 3 of them to stay behind. What are your views on the matter of Subei? This wasn't the first time the Prime Minister had asked them about Subei. From the very beginning, they had been transferred to the Prime Minister's side to work for Subei. Every once in a while, the Prime Minister would also ask them about Subei. The 3 of them didn't think about anything else, and each gave their own opinion. Not bad. Although the 3 of them had set out from different angles, their goal was the same. Compared to the beginning, their ideas were more comprehensive. The Prime Minister was very satisfied with this. If I let you go to Subei, do you have the confidence to do what you said? Sir, what do you mean? I believe you have heard that the Imperial Court will send officials to Subei. This is a very good opportunity. Today, I asked you to stay behind because I wanted to hear your thoughts. Are you willing to go to Subei? Although this was the first time the Prime Minister had brought up this matter, the 3 of them were not surprised. During this period of time, the Imperial Court had been discussing it. Being in the midst of it, they could naturally feel the undercurrent surging below. This official is willing. Jiang Huiqing was the first to speak. Immediately after, He Qingyu and Fang Jiai also expressed their willingness. For them, Going to Subei was another shortcut and an unprecedented opportunity. Since you are all willing, then prepare well. The Prime Minister did not ask Fang Jiayi alone. He had already gotten the answer from her eyes. After interacting with her, he had personally experienced that women in the world were not inferior to men. Although Fang Jiayi was a woman, giving her special treatment was a kind of wrong. In the officialdom, everyone should be equal. How far they could go in the end depended on themselves. The next day, the Prime Minister handed a booklet to Shang Junlin. He was very optimistic about Jiang Huiqing and the other two, and most of his words were full of praise. After reading it, Shang Junlin handed the booklet to Xinyu. I thought he would complain. It was not easy to cultivate a few capable people, but in the blink of an eye, they were all transferred away by me. Isn't Lord Fang coming back? When Lord Fang enters the cabinet, the Prime Minister will not be as busy as he is now. Sun Zhao, Lord Sun, what is your Majesty plan to do? Xinyu finished reading the booklet and put it aside. I plan to let him take over Fang Jun's original position. He definitely can't continue to stay in Subei. In any case, Sun Zhao had made a great contribution in this matter in Subei. At the same time, he had also formed a lot of hatred with the local forces in Subei. No matter from which perspective, Shang Junlin could not let Sun Zhao stay there. Is there any other news from Subei during this period of time? Fang Jun sent a lot. Take a look at this booklet. Shang Junlin took out a booklet and handed it to Xinyu. Xinyu took it and read it. He smiled and said, Lord Fang has begun to urge you. Your Majesty should act quickly. This booklet was written very interestingly. It did not say anything about how hard it was for him. It only said from another perspective that he missed his family, and tactfully reminded the imperial court that it was time to send someone over. The imperial court indeed quarreled over this matter for a few days. In the end, Shang Junlin forcefully intervened and finally decided on the final candidate. As for Jiang Huiqing and the other two, the ministers did not have much opinion. They already knew that Shang Junlin would train this year's top 3. Even if they objected, it would only make the emperor unhappy. If they had the time, it would be better to find a way to arrange for more of their own people to go over. After the morning court discussion, everything was settled. Jiang Huiqing and the other two were the most junior in this group of people, but no one saw them clearly because of this. Those who could be officials in the imperial court had basic discerning eyes. From various signs, it was obvious that the emperor wanted to put these 3 people in important positions. At present, these 3 people did not have any conflict of interest with the other ministers. Of course, it was best to be on good terms with them. In the end, Fang Jiayi was a woman, so it was inconvenient. In the following days, He Qingyu and Jiang Huiqing received a lot of invitations. I haven't been to the north yet. I don't know what Subei is like. Jiang Huiqing had only seen descriptions of Subei in books. He was very curious about this place that he was about to arrive at. It's raining in Subei, and the weather is gradually turning cold. When we get there, it should not be much different from the capital. I originally thought that after a few years, I would have to work separately from Brother Qingyu. I didn't expect that His Majesty would send us to Subei together. Ever since they came to the capital for the exam, Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu had been together. If they were suddenly separated, Jiang Huiqing would definitely not be used to it. Now that the two of them could work in the same place, Jiang Huiqing was very happy. In the future, I hope that Brother Qingyu will take care of me. He Qingyu tightened his grip on the wine cup, but his expression did not change. Even if Huiqing didn't say it, I will. I also hope that Huiqing will take care of me. Jiang Huiqing smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry, as long as I am good, I will not forget you. The officials who went to Subei were not only appointed from the capital, but also selected from the local areas. There were people from aristocratic families and poor families. Just as they were preparing to go to Subei, another urgent secret letter was sent to the imperial desk. After Shang Junlin finished reading it, he suddenly stood up. Outrageous! Summon the Prime Minister to the palace for a discussion. The palace people all knelt down and kept quiet out of fear. Shang Junlin was really angry this time. He resisted the urge to smash the things in his hands because he remembered that Xinyu had specially selected them. Since Shen Yu entered the palace, eunuch Meng had almost never seen His Majesty so angry. He did not dare to delay, and hurriedly took out a plate, and asked his subordinates to invite the ministers into the palace. When the ministers hurried over, Shen Yu also received the news that Shang Junlin was furious in the imperial study. Do you know why His Majesty is angry? Shen Yu was originally loosening the soil for the flowers. When he heard the news, he stopped what he was doing and asked. The one who brought the news was eunuch Meng. It was eunuch Meng who announced it. His Majesty read the secret letter from Sube and lost his temper. He also summoned several important ministers into the palace to discuss matters. Sube, if it can make His Majesty so angry, it can't be a small matter. Shen Yu whispered. The matter in Sube was almost settled. What else could make Shang Junlin so angry? Shen Yu went through the matter in Sube from beginning to end and vaguely found some key points. But, were those people in Sube really so bold? When Shang Junlin came back in the evening, there was no anger on his face, but it was not difficult to see that the man was in a bad mood. You come over and let me hug you. Shen Yu walked over. Who made His Majesty unhappy? The matter in Sube. I didn't expect them to be so bold. Before they did these things, didn't they know what the consequences of their actions would be? Shang Junlin hugged Shen Yu in his arms and sat on the soft couch. Meng Chong, give the secret letter to His Majesty. Eunuch Meng hurriedly found the letter from Sube and handed it to Shen Yu with both hands. Shen Yu took the secret letter. The more he read, the tighter his brows became. What was written in the letter was undoubtedly the worst of all the situations. After knowing that the robbery of the supplies was related to the high-ranking officials in Sube, Shen Yu and Shang Junlin discussed where the missing supplies were hidden. Later, when those people were imprisoned, Fang Jun also actively searched for them. Unfortunately, they found nothing. Now, it was no wonder that they could not find it. It turned out that the supplies were no longer in Sube, or even in Dahuan. After the supplies were robbed, before the imperial court reacted, they were transported from Sube to the northern desert. Then, they were taken away by the northern desert people. In exchange, they gave Lord Ho and other officials a large amount of gold, silver, and jewelry. This matter was not revealed until Fang Jun sent people to search the house and found the secret room. This batch of supplies must be recovered. Shang Junlin said his plan in a deep voice. Shen Yu agreed. This matter was related to the prestige of Dahuan, so it must not be hastily ended, but, does His Majesty want to go to war with the northern desert? It depends on their attitude. If they are willing to obediently return it and severely punish the offenders, I will not pursue the matter. When it came to war, Shang Junlin was never afraid of anyone. Everything he had now could be said to have come from the battlefield. The letter said that it was only a transaction with some small border officials. I don't think so. Without orders from above, the people below would not be so bold. At that time, the northern desert people were also involved in the robbery of the supplies, right? Shen Yu put the letter on the small table. The secret letter between Lord Ho and the northern desert people could not be completely trusted. I will let Gu Huai investigate. Now that there is a direction, it will not be difficult to find out anything. Shang Junlin held Shen Yu's wrist. It seems that I was too lenient. Shen Yu, His Majesty, does Lord Feng also know about this matter? As one of the cabinet ministers, if Lord Feng was also involved, this matter would be troublesome. Chapter 135. Whether he knew or not, he had to interrogate him to get the answer. Shang Junlin originally wanted to fish out the person behind official Feng, but now he had no time to think about that. He had to control official Feng first. At the same time, he sent an urgent message to Sube. Fortunately, Fang Jun was in charge of Sube and Gu Huai's hidden dragon guards were there. It was not difficult to investigate this matter. Along with Fang Jun's message, there were also all the letters that Lord Ho and the others exchanged with the northern desert. Shang Junlin had already read them once, and had also shown them to the Prime Minister and the others. Now he was reading them again with Shen Yu. The earliest date of the letters was 5 years ago. At first, both sides were testing each other. Gradually, the northern desert gave more and more benefits, and their attitude became more and more relaxed. A year later, the two sides conspired for the first time. It was not a big deal and almost no one found out. After the first time, official Ho and the others got a lot of benefits. Later on, there were several more such benefits. They were all small things that could be easily covered up even if they were found out. They just had to help and say something, and they could get a lot of benefits. Who wouldn't be tempted? Gradually, the two sides were no longer satisfied with the small deals at the beginning. The success of the first few times gave official Ho and the others more courage, and they did more and more things. But because both sides were cautious, and almost all the senior officials in Subei were official Ho's men, and because the Dahuan people and the Northern Desert people were natural enemies, the two sides secretly conspired for many years without being found out. At first, the Northern Desert people asked official Ho and the others to do some small things. Later on, they became bolder and their ambitions were exposed. Shin Yu pinched one of the secret letters, his eyes cold. For example, in this letter, the Northern Desert people said that they would pretend to attack Subei and let the Subei army move out. Then they would pretend to be defeated and give the Subei army a big credit. The general leading the Subei army seemed to have surrendered to official Ho, but in fact, he was on the Northern Desert people's side. Of course, the plan didn't succeed this time. Coincidentally, the Northern Sioux army was undergoing internal reforms at that time. The team that was sent wasn't the original one, and the one who received the military merit wasn't the original one. After this incident, the Northern Desert stopped for a period of time. They no longer dared to have any ideas about the Northern Desert Army. The Northern Desert Army had once given them nightmares. Even after so many years, the fear in their bones had not dissipated. Are there any of their people in the Northern Jiangsu Army? When Fang Jun sent the news back, he had already informed the Northern Jiangsu Army. They will conduct an investigation. No matter how deep they hide, they will be dug out. This was what angered Shang Junlin the most. Attacking the Northern Sioux Army was equivalent to attacking the Great Huan Army. Shang Junlin would never allow such a thing to happen. When we took back Subei, we didn't let them ruin it like this. Shang Junlin's voice was very soft, but the meaning in his tone was not to be ignored. The next morning, Shang Junlin announced the news from Subei. Like pouring a drop of water into a pot of boiling oil, the ministers below exploded. They actually colluded with the Northern Desert? That's the Northern Desert. Have they forgotten what happened to Subei when it was in their hands? What do they want to do? Do they want to send Subei back? How dare they? The ministers quarreled. Shang Junlin sat on the throne. He seemed to be indifferent, but in fact he was observing everyone's expression, especially Lord Feng. He had sent the hidden dragon guards to pay close attention to Lord Feng's movements. For the time being he had not arrested him. Compared to Lord Feng, he was more concerned about the power behind Lord Feng. Yesterday, Shang Junlin was so angry that he wanted to arrest Lord Feng and hand him over to the Supreme Court for interrogation. Later he calmed down in front of Shin Yu. If Lord Feng was involved, were there other people in the court involved? Could he ensure that after Lord Feng was arrested, no one else would be left out? Acting rashly would only leave more serious hidden dangers. Looking at Lord Feng's behavior today, it seemed that he did not know the inside story. After a while, Shang Junlin raised his hand and the hall instantly quieted down. Your Majesty, is there any conclusive evidence? Treason was not a small matter. After the ministers calmed down, they began to think about the authenticity of the matter. If there was no conclusive evidence, I would not have brought it up in the morning court. Since everyone is suspicious, Meng Chong, bring the evidence. Eunuch Meng jogged out. Not long after, the palace servants who were holding the evidence filed in. These were all arranged by Fang Jun and sent back. This was a serious matter. He would definitely not convict someone based on a few letters. After discovering the existence of the letters, he immediately sent people to investigate. According to the contents of the letters and other clues in the house, he found strong evidence. Lord Feng was not a reckless person. Before the matter was concluded, it was impossible for him to rashly report the matter. He had worked under Shang Junlin for many years, and Shang Junlin knew very well what kind of personality he had. That was why he was so angry when he heard the news. The ministers did not say anything when the facts were in front of them. Even if they could not figure it out or were unwilling to believe it, the facts were the facts. They would not change because of their attitude. What followed was fear and anger. If not for this natural disaster, if the hidden danger had not been discovered, what would Subei have been like all these years later? Your Majesty, please investigate this matter. This matter cannot be tolerated. Your Majesty, please. The ministers kneeled and loudly declared their position. We will have Fang Jun continue the investigation. In addition, we will send someone else to assist in the investigation. Have you chosen anyone? This matter was of great importance, so the ministers did not delay for too long, and quickly decided on a candidate. One came from a humble family, while the other came from a noble family. Both served in the Court of Judicial Review, and were experts at investigating cases. The atmosphere in Subei was very tense, but of course, this was only limited to those who knew the inside story. After the rain, the disaster had been alleviated and the lives of the common people had returned to normal. Lord Fang had exempted them from some policies that were detrimental to their livelihood. For the common people, everything was getting better. Fang Jun had been very busy in this period of time. He had thought that the matter had come to an end, and that all he needed to do was wait for the imperial court to send someone to take over. Who would have thought that this matter would involve another major incident? I'm afraid that I won't be able to return to the capital for the time being, Lord Fang thought to himself. Sure enough, not long after his news was reported, His Majesty the Emperor's order came down. He was made an imperial envoy and given full authority to deal with the matter of the officials in Subei colluding with foreign enemies. Sun Zhao was also left behind to help. Compared to returning to the imperial court, this matter was clearly more important. For the sake of convenience, Shang Junlin also gave Fang Jun the authority to mobilize part of the Subei army. The general who had been sent to help Fang Jun was officially one of Fang Jun's subordinates. This general was the one who had accidentally replaced a chess piece planted in the northern desert, and was unexpectedly promoted. Fang Jun held the imperial edict. It seems that General and I will have to work together for a period of time in the future. My lord, there's a woman outside who wants to see you. A yamen runner walked in and cupped his hands. A woman? Are you sure she wants to see me? Lord Fang recalled that he had not interacted with any woman in this period of time. Yes, the woman looked a little flustered. She was also carrying a large package in her hands. She said that she knew something that would interest you and wanted to tell you. Bring the woman in. Not long after, the yamen runner brought in a woman dressed in coarse hemp clothes. Lord Fang. The woman knelt down as soon as she came in. This humble girl has something important to tell you. This humble girl is Yaoji. I was once a dancer in Lord Ho's residence. Based on the woman's description, Fang Jun learned another side of the high-ranking officials in Subei. In addition to all kinds of treasures, Lord Ho also loved beautiful women. Every once in a while, his subordinates would send him a group of women. Most of these women could only stay in the residence for half a year. No one knew where they went after that. Yaoji had been learning to dance since she was a child in order to be chosen by a high-ranking official one day. She was outstanding in appearance and talent, so she was the most outstanding among her friends. Therefore, she was chosen to serve in Lord Ho's residence. Yaoji had been learning to dance since she was a child. After entering the residence, she quickly won Lord Ho's favor. Lord Ho showed off her excellent dancing skills everywhere. Thus, she inadvertently uncovered a shocking secret. That day, Lord Ho went to a banquet as usual, and asked me to perform well at the banquet. The banquet was very strange. Everyone was wearing masks. One of them took a fancy to me, so Lord Ho asked me to serve him. Perhaps because he drank too much, that man said a lot of inexplicable words in the evening, mixed with some words that I didn't understand. As she spoke, Yaoji imitated. Later, I learned that it was the language of the northern desert. That man said that he cooperated with Lord Ho. I remembered several key words: Northern Desert, Northern Army, failed plan, and kidnapped. After that, I knew something I shouldn't know. So I found an opportunity to pretend to be ill and was sent out of the main city. Then why did you come back? Fang Jun asked calmly. Because I heard a lot about your deeds. I thought that you must be different from those people, so I wanted to give these things to you. Yaoji took out a big package in her arms. These were left by the people who served me at the banquet. The yamen runner took the package and opened it. Inside were mostly jewelry for women, but the style was not popular in Dahuan. Yaoji took out one of the jade boxes, opened the interlayer, and took out a folded piece of paper. What I want to give to you is this. It was left by that man. Fang Jun asked someone to bring the things in and asked with a puzzled look, why did you leave these things? Because I hate the northern desert. After I knew that man was from the northern desert, I wanted to find a chance to expose this matter. Yaoji smiled bitterly. I know that I'm not powerful enough. After leaving the main city, I wanted to leave Subei and go all the way south to the capital. Later, I heard about your deeds from many people, so I wanted to give these things to you. From the information I learned, the northern desert people have been in Subei for a long time. Every once in a while, they would disguise themselves as people from Dahuan and appear in Subei. They are involved with the original officials of Subei. My ability is limited, so I can't find out more useful information. As she spoke, the woman's breath became more and more unstable. I'll deal with this matter seriously. He would investigate the woman's origin. As for the things she said, he would investigate in detail. Thank you, Your Excellency. After that, the woman seemed to be unable to support herself and slowly fell down. Quickly help her up and call for a doctor. Fang Jun called Sun Zhao, who was busy, and told him what happened just now. This woman's words are 80% credible. Fang Jun looked at the piece of paper the woman took out. It was a letter. It was different from the letter they found in Master Ho's house. This letter was written by Master Ho to the people of the northern desert. It matched the clues they found. So the northern desert people are hiding in Subei and in the main city. After so many years, I didn't notice at all. Sun Zhao frowned. It seems that we were right not to announce the collusion between Master Ho and the northern desert people. Now that we're in the dark, it's easier to find them. After the woman woke up, Fang Jun asked her a few more questions. Unfortunately, the woman didn't know the location of the banquet. When we went there, we were all blindfolded and sat in an airtight carriage. We only knew that it was a big house with gorgeous decorations. After we went there, our range of activities was limited. Except for dancing at the banquet, we could only move around in a small courtyard. When we left, it was the same as when we went there. The woman told him all she knew. Fang Jun saw that he couldn't get any more information and left. Fang Jun naturally had to report such a big matter to the emperor as soon as possible. No matter whether the northern desert people had roots in Subei or not, they had to pay attention to this matter. When Shang Junlin received the news, the officials sent to Subei were already on their way. Without Jiang Huiqing and the other two to help, the prime minister was as busy as before. Because of Fang Jun's absence, he was even busier than before. When Shang Junlin talked to Xinyu about this matter, there was a smile on his face, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. So the northern desert people have already infiltrated Subei? Xinyu picked up a piece of snack and fed it to Shang Junlin. In fact, it's not strange if you think about it. If they didn't enter Subei, how could they have a relationship with the former upper-level officials? Shang Junlin sucked the snack in Xinyu's hand and Xinyu's finger. He took a bite and let go. You is right. Since you've come to Subei, don't think about going back. Those who offend Dahuan must pay the price. Chapter 136. The culprit behind the incident in the palace has been found out. When Shang Junlin suddenly mentioned it, Xinyu took a while to remember what he was talking about. Your Majesty, are you talking about the wooden block that was soaked in hallucinogenic drugs? Yes, there are not many people who can enter the greenhouse. Meng Chong ordered people to guard the greenhouse for a few days and found a few suspects. After interrogating them, we got the results yesterday. There was a special place in the palace that dealt with palace servants. When palace servants committed crimes, they would usually be sent there. The interrogation methods in the palace were crueler than those outside, And there were more ways to torture people. After those people were sent there, they were reluctant to admit anything at first. The eunuch in charge of this matter knew Shang Junlin's attitude. He would use any method to interrogate them. After a few days, those people couldn't take it anymore and confessed everything. Shang Junlin lowered his eyes. There was no need to tell you these things. Who did it? Xinyu wasn't interested in how he got the answers. What's the motive of the person behind this? If he really wanted to harm me, he wouldn't have succeeded with such little means. Besides, how did he know that I would go to see the flowers sent by Princeton? Ayu's guess is right. Their real motive wasn't to harm you, but to push the blame to Princeton. They chose a small dose of hallucinogenic drugs because they would be found out before they could bring it in. As for the instigator of this matter, it was Feng Pingqi. Feng Pingqi, Lord Feng, I don't have any grudges with him, right? Xinyu thought for a while. In this life he didn't enter the officialdom, so he didn't have any dealings with Lord Feng. Were the previous incidents also related to Lord Feng? Xinyu now knew that the two incidents were caused by someone. However, the culprit hid it very well, so they didn't have any evidence against him. The previous two incidents had nothing to do with him. Shang Junlin would have ordered the arrest of the culprit long ago if the culprit was found to be related to him. It was only this time that Xinyu did not suffer any substantial harm, so he could barely maintain his composure. Otherwise, it would not be an exaggeration to cut the culprit into pieces. I don't think it has anything to do with him. No matter how strong the Feng family is, it's impossible for them to not give themselves away in front of Her Majesty. Xinyu was not surprised by this result. Why did he do that? We couldn't get anything out of the palace maid. This palace maid had received Feng Pingqi's favor before she entered the palace. Feng Pingqi threatened her to help this time, so she had no choice but to listen. Speaking of this person, Shang Junlin's tone was very cold. No matter whether that person was willing or forced, it was an undeniable fact that he had caused harm to Xinyu. Since he had done something wrong, he should bear the corresponding consequences. His Majesty said that there is a mysterious force behind Lord Feng. Could all these be related to this force? Xinyu was not speaking without thinking. That force had been hiding in the dark for so long, and the hidden dragon guards had not been able to find out anything. They could definitely cut off all the clues after doing something. I have this suspicion too. Let's wait a little longer. There is already progress on the other side. Feng Pingqi will not be free for a few more days. When the time comes, I will definitely give you justice. Ayu, you must be worried when you're with me. Xinyu shook his head. Shang Junlin was the target of all the conspiracies and plots. He was just an accessory. The only one who was in danger and had to be on guard against these hidden attacks was Shang Junlin. Your Majesty, you must also be careful at all times. These enemies hiding in the dark would one day be uprooted by them. I have given you a team of hidden dragon guards. If there is anything, you can let them do it. Don't let them stay too far away from you. Some of my next actions might make them desperate, Shang Junlin instructed. Your Majesty, just do whatever you want to do. You don't have to worry about me. Your Majesty, you said that those people want to push the blame onto King En. Why King En? Xinyu knew very little about King En. This person's presence was not high in his previous life. King En used to have hopes of ascending to the throne. However, he gave up for some reason. Since then, he quietly lowered his presence in the court. When I led the army into the palace, he even helped me. The two of them discussed for a while, but still could not come to a conclusion. They could only put this matter aside for the time being. Sube. Feng Jun received Shang Junlin's reply in the shortest time possible. In order to facilitate the operation, Shang Junlin gave Feng Jun partial access to the hidden dragon guards. Gu Huai also withdrew from the Sube army and began to secretly investigate the northern desert people hiding in Sube. Yaoji rested for a few days and felt better. She volunteered to help. I am one of the participants. I can help you. Yaoji was very nervous when she said this. The prejudice against women was engraved in the bones. She really wanted to help, but she was also afraid that she would be excluded because of her identity. Then you can come with us. We will have to trouble you for the rest of the work. Feng Jun's daughter was an official in the court. He naturally had no prejudice against women. Seeing this, the junior official subconsciously wanted to say that it was not appropriate. Yaoji was not only a woman, but also a dancer. It was inappropriate for her to work with them. Feng Jun glanced at them and knew what they wanted to say. He calmly interrupted them. Yaoji knows more than you and me. It will be more convenient with her help. I know what you are thinking. However, this is a critical period. Finding those people is more important than anything else. Put away what you should not think and work with peace of mind. Ashamed by Feng Jun's words, the junior officials bowed their heads and admitted their mistake. Sir, you are right. It was undeniable that Yaoji was indeed beautiful. When she revealed her true appearance, many people were stunned. Knowing that her appearance would attract a lot of attention and bring unnecessary trouble, she disguised herself for the rest of the time. Yaoji was a very meticulous person. She could get more useful clues by following the clues. With her help, things went smoothly. A few days later, the officials sent by the imperial court to Subei successfully arrived. Feng Jun led people to greet them and was surprised to see his daughter. Feng Jiai was not supposed to come at this time. Shang Junlin planned to let the father and daughter reunite in the capital before sending Feng Jiai to Subei. However, the plan could not keep up with the changes. Subei needed a lot of manpower. Feng Jiai volunteered, so Shang Junlin simply packed the three of them and sent them over. Feng Jun's expression only changed for a moment. Other than Sun Zhao, who was familiar with him because of their work together, no one else noticed the slight change in his expression. After arranging the new officials, Feng Jun returned to his study. Sun Zhao followed him and asked, Sir, your expression was not right just now. Is there a problem with the selection of officials? No, I just saw an unexpected person. The list of officials who would be sent over was first sent to Subei. Feng Jun had a rough idea of who would come. Coincidentally, Feng Jiai's name was not on the list. Sir, are you talking about those particularly young ones? It is said that His Majesty sent them over to increase their seniority. Sun Zhao had no objection to this, as long as the officials sent over could do their jobs well. His Majesty did not tell me in advance. Feng Jun facepalmed. Even if His Majesty had told him in advance, he would not have stopped it, right? In the blink of an eye, Feng Jun received a letter from the imperial court. Shang Junlin explained why Feng Jiai and the other two's names were not on the list. It was because the three of them should not have come at this time. Feng Jun arranged a small banquet to welcome the officials who were going to work in Subei from afar. At the same time, it was also to let them familiarize themselves with the local officials in Subei. Feng Jiai drank some wine and walked out of the hall. Subei was completely different from the capital. Only the bright moon in the night sky was the same as in the capital. Come out. Why are you following me? Feng Jiai suddenly spoke after standing for a while. Sir, are you also here for Miss? Yaoji walked out from behind the pillar, her eyes flickering. As you can see. Feng Jiai opened her arms generously. Sir, you are really amazing. Yaoji's eyes were full of envy. Has the imperial court allowed women to be officials now? You don't know? Feng Jiai was surprised. This matter had caused quite a stir back then. Logically speaking, everyone who should know should have known. Feng Jiai had heard about this woman from her colleagues. She admired such a woman. Since she had nothing else to do, she invited her to sit at the stone table in the courtyard and began to talk. Unconsciously, they talked about the most important matter at hand. In fact, when I came to find Sir Feng, I was prepared for failure. I didn't expect Sir Feng to take what I said seriously and make an exception to let me participate. My life's wish is to catch these northern desert people and find the whereabouts of the other missing women. Whatever you wish in your heart will come true. Feng Jiai pondered. When the relief materials were sent to the northern desert, would some of the missing women be in the northern desert? With the addition of new officials, the pressure on Feng Jun and Sun Zhao was greatly reduced. After delegating the matters in the northern desert to the new officials, they focused most of their attention on catching the northern desert people hiding in the northern desert. Under the seemingly calm surface, there was a turbulent undercurrent. The northern desert was like this, and so was the capital. Sir Feng realized that he was being watched. He did not know when it started, but no matter what he did, there would always be a pair of eyes following him like a shadow. After enduring for a few days, Sir Feng once again contacted the mysterious force. The hidden dragon guards were waiting for this opportunity. They quietly followed him. Everything was ready. It was time to close the net. When Shang Junlin received the report from the hidden dragon guards, it was night time. Shang Junlin looked at the young man who was sleeping soundly in his arms and gently sat up. The leader of the hidden dragon guards knelt outside the room. Shang Junlin put on his clothes and walked out. "Master, we have caught the person." Shang Junlin looked behind the screen and said, "Let's talk outside." The heat source beside him disappeared. Xinyu woke up from his deep sleep and opened his eyes in a daze. He looked around the room but could not find Shang Junlin. There was a faint sound coming from outside the room. It was dark and he could not hear it clearly. For a moment, Xinyu felt that he was still in a dream. Not long later, Shang Junlin walked in with a cold aura. He realized that the young man was sitting on the bed in a daze. He quickly walked to the bedside and covered the young man with the blanket. "Did I wake you up? Where did you go, Your Majesty?" Xinyu was still in a daze. Shang Junlin knew that the young man was not fully awake. He hugged the young man and lay down. "I went out to talk to you about something. There's nothing else. Go back to sleep." Xinyu, who was in a semi-conscious state, was very soft. It was completely different from usual. Shang Junlin loved the way he usually behaved. He also liked the other side of him that he occasionally revealed. He looked very easy to bully. Chapter 137. Shang Junlin's heart softened when he thought about how Xinyu woke up and waited for him after he went out for a while. He gently patted Xinyu's back, intending to coax him back to sleep. Xinyu grabbed Shang Junlin's collar tightly. His mouth opened and closed as if he was saying something, but no sound came out. "You," Shang Junlin whispered. Xinyu pressed closer to Shang Junlin and didn't respond. Shang Junlin hugged Xinyu and lowered his head to plant a light kiss on her forehead. Then he moved down and finally landed on her lips. Xinyu didn't have any intention to resist, and let him do whatever he wanted. Shang Junlin barely stopped himself before he lost control. Surrounded by a familiar scent, Xinyu's tense nerves gradually relaxed, and his consciousness slipped into a sweet dream. When he woke up, the sky was already bright. Xinyu sat up with the quilt in his arms. He still had some recollection of what happened last night. He looked around but couldn't find Shang Junlin. Mushi came in to serve him when she heard the noise. "Is His Majesty not here?" "His Majesty went to the morning court, and hasn't come back yet." Mushi paused and was a little surprised. Her young master rarely asked this question. Why did he suddenly ask today? Xinyu didn't ask because he knew that Shang Junlin wasn't here, most likely because he went to the morning court or because he was delayed by something after the court. It was normal to not see him when he woke up in the morning. He asked today because he was a little concerned about what happened last night. He didn't know if it was a dream or reality. Young master's clothes are a little small. The Shangyi Bureau should send new clothes over in 2 days. Mushi tidied up Xinyu's clothes and said. Suddenly her hand paused. While she was moving, she saw the red marks on Xinyu's lapel. Compared to the panic she had when she first saw these marks, Mushi was now able to keep a straight face. After all, she had seen it too many times. No matter how surprised she was at the beginning, she didn't feel anything later on. She was the head palace made of Yuzhong Palace. Xinyu's identity was the emperor. His Majesty had always lived in Yuzhong Palace. It was normal for something to happen. Xinyu straightened his sleeves and said, "It is indeed a little small." She didn't know if it was because the imperial palace was especially nurturing. Xinyu had put on some weight and his complexion was better. He was much taller than when he entered the imperial palace. He couldn't wear the clothes he brought into the imperial palace now. Did anything happen last night? After washing up, Xinyu drank a cup of warm water and asked. No, why do you ask? It seemed that Mushi didn't know what happened last night. It wasn't strange. The hidden dragon guards came and went like ghosts. If the person who talked to Shang Junlin last night was a hidden dragon guard, it was normal that Mushi didn't find out. Young master, the pot of flowers sent by Imperial Physician Gu has bloomed. Mushi remembered this important matter. She remembered that her young master was very concerned about the flowers sent by Imperial Physician Gu. Among the flowers and plants that could be personally cared for by Xinyu, except for this one, the rest were sent by His Majesty. Bloomed. Xinyu was surprised. Junling could bloom? Since Mushi said so, Xinyu decided to go and take a look. Junling was rare, let alone now that it had bloomed. Xinyu had never seen it bloom before and was quite curious. Xinyu walked into the small courtyard where flowers were placed. A light fragrance greeted him. It was an indescribable fragrance. Just by smelling it, all his tiredness seemed to disappear. Most of the flowers and plants here were taken care of by Xinyu personally. He was sure that before this fragrance appeared, he didn't have such a feeling when he walked into the courtyard. He turned to look at the other palace maids and saw that they all looked relaxed. Xinyu walked in. Junling was placed on the shelf on the left. At this moment, there were a few light green flower buds in the middle of the delicate branches and leaves. How long has it been since the flower buds bloomed? Xinyu didn't see the flower buds the last time he was here. I found them last night. At that time, Shang Junlin was present and ordered that no one should enter the room to disturb them. Mushi didn't say anything. Xinyu walked closer to observe. The flower buds were very small. Each flower was only the size of a pinky finger. They were hidden among the branches and leaves, and were hard to find. After getting closer, Xinyu found that the fragrance had become stronger, but it wasn't pungent. It was still light and very comfortable to smell. Unlike the peace of the imperial harem, the court was almost boiling. Shocking news came one after another, catching people unprepared. The matter in Subei hadn't ended yet, and yet another major event had happened in the court. The cause was that during the court session today, everyone found that Lord Feng wasn't present. Not only Lord Feng, but several officials under Lord Feng were also absent. Without giving them too much time to guess, Shang Junlin directly announced the crimes committed by Lord Feng's faction. A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. The ministers were completely unsettled. They thought that the matter in Subei was far away from them. Today they were suddenly told that their colleagues who had been with them for many years were also involved, and had even revealed the details of the court's movements to the other side. How could they accept this? Lord Feng has entered the cabinet. Why can't he figure out why he did this kind of thing? I was wondering why the robbers were so clear about the number of troops we sent. It turns out that someone had already leaked it. So our every move is under the other side's surveillance? Lord Feng is an important minister in the cabinet and knows more secrets than we do. Just how much of these secrets did he reveal to the other side? Is Lord Feng really in cahoots with the Northern Desert? This was the last question they urgently needed to know. If Lord Feng really was in cahoots with the Northern Desert, they had to prepare early. This matter will be handled by the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Justice. We want a result as soon as possible. It wasn't just Shang Junlin. The other ministers also wanted a result as soon as possible. The officials who were usually close to Lord Feng's faction paled. Shang Junlin's move was truly too sudden. Without giving anyone any time to react, the aristocratic families lost 1/3 of their positions in the cabinet. Lord Duan was so angry that he was trembling. He had sensed that something was wrong with Lord Feng during this period of time, but he had never imagined that Lord Feng would be so bold as to commit such a crime. Even if the aristocratic families wanted to protect him, they couldn't. Because of Lord Feng's matter, the factions in the court were once again in turmoil. While they were worried, many people turned their eyes to the vacated position of Lord Feng's faction. Especially Lord Feng's position. That was the cabinet. Ever since the Prime Minister became the cabinet, there hadn't been any changes in the cabinet for the past 6 years. Now that there was finally a vacant position, all the factions wanted to send their own people to it. When Shang Junlin returned from the court, Xinyu asked him about what happened last night. Shang Junlin didn't hide anything and told him about capturing Lord Feng, and the person who was in cahoots with Lord Feng. Your Majesty, why did you take action directly this time? How did the court react? The hidden dragon guards had already found out where the group of people were staying in the capital. They caught all of them last night. There's no need for Feng Pingqi to stay any longer. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to capture the person behind the scenes, Shang Junlin would have already dealt with him based on the fact that Lord Feng attacked Xinyu. These few days, the hidden dragon guards had been paying close attention to Lord Feng's movements. After being pressured by Shang Junlin a few times, Lord Feng finally couldn't take it anymore, and found the person behind the scenes. Their actions were very secretive, but no matter how secretive they couldn't escape the eyes of the hidden dragon guards who were already prepared. Through the person who contacted Lord Feng, the hidden dragon guards found out where the group of people were staying in the capital. They didn't act rashly and made use of this opportunity to sneak in. When they were sure that their plan was foolproof, they took action to capture Lord Feng. At the same time, the people who were guarding the Feng residence received the news and captured the entire Feng family. Everything happened in a very short period of time, and no one had time to react. When Shang Junlin woke up last night, he heard about this matter from the leader of the hidden dragon guards. After the court, the Prime Minister went straight to the Ministry of Justice. Lord Feng's case involved a lot of people and had to be dealt with as soon as possible. The other ministers didn't slack off either. Lord Feng's downfall was a foregone conclusion. The position that he left behind was highly sought after, and all the factions wanted a piece of it. The aristocratic family officials were especially unwilling to give up their positions to others. What is Lord Feng thinking? Why doesn't he want to be a minister in the imperial cabinet? Look at what he has done. He colluded with the people in Subei to steal the relief supplies and open the door for the northern desert. He even poisoned Shen Guijun. Why did he provoke Shen Guijun for no reason? Everyone knew that Shen Guijun was the emperor's reverse scale. Anyone who touched him would die. There was no turning back for anything that Lord Feng had done. No wonder we didn't receive any reports from Subei that were related to the disaster. It wasn't just the higher-ups in Subei who didn't let us know. The ministers in the imperial cabinet also didn't want the imperial court to know about this. Xinyu looked at the reports from the Ministry of Justice and laughed coldly. Subei was suffering from a drought. Other than the officials in the main city, the local officials could also ask the imperial court for help. Without exception, all these reports disappeared. Xinyu had been thinking about how the people in Subei had blocked all the news. It was because there was a spy in the imperial court. Because Shang Junlin didn't have a deep foundation in the imperial court in the early years, the imperial cabinet had a lot of power. Even now, the imperial cabinet could still fight against the imperial power. As an important minister in the imperial court, Lord Feng had been in the imperial court for many years. It was not difficult for him to hide the news of Subei. Did he collude with the people of the northern desert? Xinyu was more concerned about this than anything else. The Ministry of Justice said that when they told Feng Pingqi that the people in Subei had colluded with the northern desert, the surprised expression on Feng Pingqi's face didn't seem fake. He also refused to admit that he had colluded with the northern desert. Perhaps he knew that there was no hope for him to reverse the case, so he confessed very clearly what he had done all these years, Shang Junlin said. Isn't it because the power behind him was also arrested? Xinyu didn't believe that Lord Feng had revealed the truth because he had suddenly repented. People who had abandoned their bottom line wouldn't cry until they saw the coffin. This is also a big reason. At first he refused to say anything. Later, the Ministry of Justice took him to watch the execution, so he became honest. The one who was punished was naturally the person who had been cooperating with him. Since the prisoner was sent to them, the Ministry of Justice naturally wanted to find out some useful information. The Ministry of Justice acted quickly. According to the clues given by Lord Feng, they arrested many people who were hiding in the capital. However, Lord Feng's information was limited. Although he had cooperated with the other party for many years, he still didn't know the other party's real background. If Lord Feng is telling the truth and he didn't collude with the people of the northern desert, then what about the power behind him? Did they collude with the northern desert? Other than the northern desert, what about other countries? Xinyu touched his chin and thought, is there any connection between that power and the one who has been helping the king of you? You suspects that they are the people left behind by the late emperor? Shang Junlin reacted. I'm not sure. It's just a guess. Whether it's true or not depends on the results of the investigation by the Ministry of Justice. It would be best if they could catch the people behind the King of Yu. Chapter 138. The person behind Prince Yu was a knot in Xin Yu's heart. In his previous life he worked for Prince Yu, but he did not really come into contact with that power. If the situation was not urgent, that power would not have helped him. Xin Yu had always thought that the force helped him because King of Yu had saved young Master He. What happened in this life was different from what happened in his previous life. He also knew some secrets that he didn't know in his previous life, so his view of the force changed. He didn't have much of a clue as to whose orders they were following and what their objectives were. Shang Junlin stroked Xin Yu's wrist. I have always asked the hidden dragon guards to investigate Prince Yu. I also took the opportunity to find out more about Prince Yu's fief. Speaking of which, the person who gave Prince Yu the proverb has been caught. Xin Yu's thoughts were immediately pulled back. Your Majesty, are you talking about the person who asked Prince Yu to get close to me and Xin Qingran? That's right. The hidden dragon guards have secretly brought that person to the capital. He should arrive in a few days. Shang Junlin's tone was as cold as before when he mentioned that person. Your Majesty, don't forget to bring me to see him. Xin Yu was very concerned about whether the proverb was true or not, and why the other party said such words. I won't forget. Shang Junlin held Xin Yu's hand and kissed it. No matter what, you can only be mine. Shang Junlin did not care about the proverb. Whoever gets the Shen family will get the world. All he wanted was Xin Yu. Of course. Xin Yu took the opportunity to hug Shang Junlin's neck and looked up. Your Majesty can only be mine. Shang Junlin's eyes darkened. He held the back of Xin Yu's head and pulled him towards himself. Then he leaned forward and kissed him. He also loved Yu, who was showing his possessiveness to him. The imperial palace was warm and quiet, but the front court had stirred up quite a few waves. After announcing Lord Feng's crimes, Shang Junlin dismissed all the officials involved and sent them to prison. No matter how much these people participated, it was impossible for them to return to their original positions in this lifetime. This matter involved a lot of people. If an official was dismissed, then an official position would be vacated. With the loss of Lord Feng's bloodline in the imperial court, the originally stable situation was suddenly broken. Everyone wanted a share of the spoils. Official Feng had been in the court for many years, and had many officials working under him. Among them, there was no lack of third-rank and second-rank officials. Now that these officials had been stripped of their positions and Shang Junlin had not immediately appointed new officials, both the aristocratic families and the commoners had their eyes on these officials. During the morning court, some officials suggested that Shang Junlin should appoint new officials as soon as possible. Although it would not affect the operation of the imperial court, as long as the imperial court was not stable, it would be easy to cause more trouble. Shang Junlin also knew this. He had some candidates in mind. After gathering a few important officials to discuss, some of the positions welcomed new owners. Among these officials, there were people from aristocratic families and commoners. Once again, the two sides reached a delicate balance. Except for official Feng's original position, it was always empty. This position was originally held by an official from an aristocratic family. Because of this, the aristocratic families had been steadily suppressing the commoners. Now that there was only one official from an aristocratic family left in the imperial court, the aristocratic family's power was greatly weakened. In addition, Shang Junlin had promoted many new people. Most of these people had been sent out after the imperial examinations and had just returned to the capital. With their addition, the original power in the imperial court had been greatly affected. This time, Your Majesty is the biggest winner. Shang Junlin did not hide anything from Xin Yu. When Xin Yu saw that Shang Junlin had completed his plan ahead of time, he could not help but feel happy. Actually, I never thought that Feng Pingqi would do such a thing. Official Feng had done a lot of things. Just one of them was enough to kill all 9 generations of his family. Not to mention that he had done so many things in a row. The Feng family, which had been hovering in the capital for many years, had completely withdrawn from the stage of Dahuan because of him. It was almost impossible for them to rise again. Shang Junlin would not give them this chance. The other aristocratic families would not give them this chance. Official Feng was really reckless this time. The influential people of the aristocratic families in the capital gathered together to discuss what to do next. Not only did he lose himself and the Feng family, but he also implicated us. Now that the imperial court is empty, His Majesty has no intention of letting anyone into the imperial court. In my opinion, we have recommended so many candidates, but His Majesty did not agree. His meaning is already very clear. I'm afraid that His Majesty already has a candidate in mind. As long as Feng Jun does not return, the imperial court will be empty. To be able to get to where they were today, none of the people present were stupid. They had already arranged for people to fill the other positions. Only the imperial court did not agree. If it was not because they were not satisfied with the current ministers, then it was because they already had candidates. All signs showed that the latter was more likely. His Majesty has long wanted to move the imperial court. If it were not for the fact that he did not have a chance, do you think he would let the aristocratic families ride on his head for so long? We all know what kind of character His Majesty is. Previously, regarding the matter of women entering the imperial court as officials, even if official Feng and official Duan did not agree, His Majesty could still use other ways to force you to agree. Then what can we do? Are we just going to watch this position be taken by others? What else can we do? The Feng family is very powerful. Before this incident, many aristocratic families were on good terms with them. Right now, they don't even have enough time to worry about themselves. How can they have the heart to resist His Majesty? As soon as these words came out, the room fell into a short silence. Not to mention others, their own families were on good terms with the Feng family. They were afraid that they would accidentally be implicated. It was enough to protect themselves from being punished. How could they have the heart to do anything else? It's all thanks to the Feng family's influence that we were able to easily achieve our goal this time. In the afternoon, Shang Junlin and Xinyu were resting in the pavilion. When they talked about the matters of the imperial court, Shang Junlin spoke up. His Majesty is in a fit of anger. Who dares to provoke him at this time? Xinyu chuckled. If they are willing to settle down, it will make it easier for His Majesty to act. Compared to the uncertain ownership of power, these aristocratic families obviously valued themselves more. The Ministry of Justice found out a lot of things, but Feng Pingqi refused to admit that he was in cahoots with the foreign enemy. No matter how they tortured him, he insisted that he did not know about it. Shang Junlin rubbed the teacup in his hand, his eyes unreadable. Does His Majesty believe his words? Has official Feng always been involved with the Northern Sioux, or only this matter? Xinyu asked. This matter is not a matter of whether Zhen believes it or not. Zhen needs a definite answer. If he really was in cahoots with the Northern Mo, the imperial court would have to prepare early. Shang Junlin did not tell Xinyu that because official Feng had schemed against Xinyu, he was given special care in the Ministry of Justice. The possibility of him lying was not high, but even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance of him lying, it could not happen. The Northern Mo and the Great Huan dynasty had been enemies for a long time. If they really knew the Great Huan dynasty like the back of their hand, the consequences would be unimaginable. The imperial court's movements were not small. The people of Jing also sensed something. Their expressions were not as relaxed as before. After official Feng and the others were arrested, the imperial court learned about the matter of the Northern Sioux officials being in cahoots with the foreign enemy. God damn it, the ones who stole the relief supplies were not bandits, but the high-ranking officials of the Northern Sioux? What do they want to do? If it weren't for His Majesty, the Northern Sioux might not have been able to return to the Great Huan dynasty. Those officials were born and raised in the Great Huan dynasty. Don't they know what the situation was like when the Northern Sioux was invaded? How could they not know? They just don't want to care about the lives of the people. Otherwise, why would they try so hard to hide the drought in the Northern Sioux region? They only care about their own enjoyment. They really are worthless. Directly killing them is letting them off too easily. If it were up to me, these traitors should be hacked to pieces. No wonder it rained on the day they were executed. Even the heavens couldn't stand it. It rained as soon as they died. It's all thanks to His Majesty's keen observation that he sent official Fong over to expose their background. His Majesty is naturally wholeheartedly for the people. None of the things taken from the houses of the corrupt officials were put into the national treasury. They were all left in the northern Su region. Because official Feng's matter had not been concluded, it was not announced yet. The neighbors were all talking about the northern Su region. The opera troupe that had been instructed by Shen Yu previously arranged a new play about the northern Su region. After showing it to Shen Yu, it started to perform in the capital. This troupe leader really knows how to seize the opportunity. Shen Yu sighed after reading the script presented by the opera troupe. Shang Junlin glanced at it while reading the script. This is based on the play Return to Spring that you were sitting in front of, right? He is indeed a smart person. The story of the play was based on the northern Su region, but it was not exactly the same. It would only make people think about the northern Su region after watching it. Shen Yu finished reading the script and handed it to Mushi. Tell them that they can rehearse the play, but there are some places that they can't cross the line. Mushi accepted the order and left. Are you as interested in these? Shang Junlin stopped writing and asked curiously. No, it's just that the script was sent over, so I casually took a look. Shen Yu was indeed not interested in these things. By the way, does His Majesty know much about Junling? It seemed to have bloomed 2 days ago. The grass that was sent by Imperial Physician Gu. Shang Junlin had always been very concerned about the flowers and plants sent by other people, who were the only ones that Shen Yu treated specially. Shen Yu nodded. Just as Shang Junlin was almost done with his work, Shen Yu wanted to go with him to take a look. As soon as he got close, he smelled a faint fragrance. Shen Yu walked closer and found that a few days had passed, and the bud had already opened. The flower was very small. Although it was in the state of bloom, it was only the size of a finger. The petals were completely piled up together. The outer layer was light green, and the deeper it was, the whiter it was. Near the center, it was the color of jade. Shen Yu had never seen Junling in full bloom, so he couldn't help but slow down his breathing. It's so beautiful. You took good care of it. Shang Junlin looked at the flower and then turned his gaze to Shen Yu. Junling was a kind of plant that was very difficult to raise. Shang Junlin didn't know where Imperial Physician Gu got this flower and why he gave it to Shen Yu. But when he saw Shen Yu's surprised look when the flower bloomed, his heart slightly itched. Are you as very happy? Shen Yu looked back at Shang Junlin, and his eyes were full of amazement. I just didn't expect it to be so beautiful when it bloomed. Although it wasn't as gorgeous as other flowers, it was simple and elegant to the extreme. It was also a kind of beauty that couldn't be ignored. Shen Yu liked all beautiful things. If you like it, I will ask people to find more. Shang Junlin held the young man's face and kissed his eyes that were more dazzling than the starry sky. Chapter 139. Shen Yu closed her eyes and felt a warm kiss on her eyelids. The sun shone through the gap, and half of it fell on their bodies, as if they were covered with a layer of golden gauze. Shen Yu reached out and grabbed Shang Junlin's collar. She felt the man's breath moving downwards, and finally, their lips touched. Shen Yu's hand, which was tightly holding the collar, fell down weakly. In a trance, her body was lifted into the air. When she came back to her senses, she was already on the bed in the bedroom. What does His Majesty want to do? Shen Yu's finger pressed against Shang Junlin's lips. It's not even the 10th day yet. You. Shang Junlin's dark eyes were like a bottomless abyss, sucking in the people who were looking at them. Light and shadow swayed, and everything was fading away. Imperial Physician Gu came to check Shen Yu's pulse as usual. Before he entered, he was brought to the side hall by Eunuch Meng. Guijun and His Majesty have something to do. Imperial Physician Gu, please rest here for a while. It was the first time Imperial Physician Gu encountered such a situation. Although he was puzzled, he didn't ask much. After waiting for about half an hour, Eunuch Meng came in and brought him to the main hall. Shen Yu was lazily leaning on the soft couch. Her eyes were moist, and her lips were redder than usual. Imperial Physician Gu looked straight ahead and finished checking her pulse. Guojuan's body is fine as usual. Xinyu supported himself to sit up. Shang Junlin, who was beside him, helped him up. Xinyu couldn't help but glare at him. He didn't know what happened today. After the kiss, Shang Junlin carried Xinyu, who was still in a daze, back to the bedroom and bullied her from inside out. Xinyu didn't expect Shang Junlin's sudden action, and was easily taken. If Imperial Physician Gu didn't check his pulse, he didn't know how long he would have been bullied. Imperial Physician Gu, do you still remember the Junling that was sent here before? It has bloomed. It was rare for Junling to bloom. Xinyu felt that he should inform Imperial Physician Gu, the previous owner. Imperial Physician Gu was stunned for a moment, and said the same thing as Shang Junlin. Your Highness has taken good care of it. Why did Imperial Physician Gu also say such words? Xinyu was curious. One of the reasons why Junling is so rare is that it's not easy to grow. This subject obtained one by accident in the past. I raised it for many years but it didn't bloom. I didn't expect it to bloom in the first year it was sent to Your Highness. Imperial Physician Gu smiled. Giving it to Your Highness was the right decision. Is there anything special about it when it blooms? Xinyu only knew that Junling was rare and had great benefits for the human body. It's all rumors. It's said that Junling can only bloom under the care of a fated person. This subject doesn't think so. Flowers and plants are the same. If they want to bloom, they must meet the conditions. Maybe Your Highness has met the conditions for it to bloom. Xinyu was more inclined to Imperial Physician Gu's second theory. It was like some flowers bloomed once a year, and some bloomed once every 3 years. It was impossible for it to bloom before the flowering period. No longer dwelling on the matter of Junling, Xinyu changed the topic and asked about another matter. Has Imperial Physician Gu received any news about my younger brother? Xinyu still remembered Imperial Physician Gu's worried expression for Gu Huai. At that time, Gu Huai's task was at a critical stage, and he couldn't have any contact with the outside world. After the matter was resolved, he didn't know if he thought of a way to send a message to Imperial Physician Gu. Thank you for your concern. This subject received a letter from my younger brother 2 days ago. He went out to handle some matters, and will be back soon. Gu Huai had been with him since he was young. When he left for a few days, Imperial Physician Gu was not used to it. After a long time he got better. After a few more words with Imperial Physician Gu, Shang Junlin's gaze became more and more unfriendly. Xinyu had no choice but to let Imperial Physician Gu go. Why did Your Majesty scare Imperial Physician Gu just now? Xinyu turned his head and looked at Shang Junlin with dissatisfaction. Why did you keep talking to him? Shang Junlin was even more dissatisfied. He had just eaten a mouthful to satisfy his craving, and was interrupted. How could he be nice to him? Your Majesty is really unreasonable. You broke the agreement and blame others. Xinyu raised his eyebrows and reached out to cover Shang Junlin's eyes. We agreed to meet once every 10 days. Your Majesty, you said it yourself. How many days is it today? Shang Junlin pulled down Xinyu's hand and bit it lightly. You also likes it very much. She keeps clinging to me and won't let go. If Your Majesty knows when to stop every time, it's not impossible to make an exception once in a while. Xinyu cast a sidelong glance at him. Because Xinyu had agreed to meet once every 10 days. Shang Junlin seemed to release the beast in his heart every time the time was up. It was not that he did not want to restrain himself, but with his sweetheart in his arms and the permission to do it once every few days, he could not control himself at all. It was not easy to have a meal, so he had to eat until he was full. This caused Xinyu to be bedridden for a day or two every time after they did it. It was only today that Shang Junlin reluctantly stopped, because he wanted Imperial Physician Gu to check his pulse. If you did not ask to meet once every 10 days, I would not. Shang Junlin coughed, and did not continue speaking. Xinyu understood his unfinished words. He was not really disgusted with this matter. It was instinctive to have intimate contact with the person he liked. He was no exception, but before he could fully adapt to it, Shang Junlin should still be a vegetarian. Xinyu thought expressionlessly. As if he knew what he was thinking, Shang Junlin held Xinyu's waist and pulled him into his arms. Xinyu had just been tormented, and the lingering arousal on his body had not completely dissipated. Under the man's sudden action, he trembled slightly. The redness spread along his cheeks and into his clothes. Shang Junlin's eyes darkened. The hand on Xinyu's waist massaged gently, relieving the discomfort. Xinyu squinted his eyes. "Your Majesty, do you know how Gu Huai sent the letter back?" The drowsy Xinyu did not forget his curiosity. Shang Junlin's hand paused for a moment. As Xinyu muttered in dissatisfaction, he continued to massage him. It was sent back together with Fang Jun's letter. Fang Jun only sent that one letter back to the capital, and it was sent back together with the people who had just gone to the capital. Shang Junlin added, "Your Majesty, would Lord Fang be surprised to see that Miss Fang also went to Subei?" Fang Jia was added later. She was not on the list that was sent to Subei first. If Fang Jun saw her, he would probably think that I was oppressing the Fang family. Fang Jun was surprised that his daughter was sent here without a word. Later, when he saw He Qingyu and Jiang Huiqing, he roughly understood Shang Junlin's thoughts. "Lord, our people have already talked with the Northern Desert. They said that they spent a lot of money to buy those things, and are not willing to return them to us. They also insisted that they did not collude with the criminal Madame Ho and the others." The official who returned from the Northern Desert reported. "What do you think?" Fang Jun asked in a deep voice. The Northern Desert's reaction was as he expected. It would be strange if the other party admitted it directly. Fang Jun did not intend to get the things back in one go. This time, he just wanted to test the other party's attitude. "In my opinion, if we want to recover this batch of goods, it is difficult to achieve our goal by negotiation alone. We must give them enough deterrence while negotiating so that they will not be fearless." The others nodded. Why were the Northern Desert people so arrogant? Wasn't it because they did not dare to do anything to the Northern Desert? What if they did not have this backing? Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu were in charge of investigating the Northern Desert people who had sneaked into Subei. They were newcomers and were not on the list. They simply disguised themselves as ordinary rich people and walked around the city. They got the clues about the Northern Desert people from Lord Fang Jun that Yaoji had given them. They wanted to see if they could find the hiding place of this group of people through other methods. Those people stayed in Subei. They must have some ulterior motive. Now that the people they have been cooperating with, or should I say the umbrella, are gone, they must find new people to cooperate with. In the restaurant, He Qingyu and Jiang Huiqing sat opposite each other. Jiang Huiqing dipped his finger in water and wrote the word Shang on the table. "Brother Qingyu, what kind of people do you think are most likely to be selected?" According to Miss Yaoji, those who can get in touch with those people are not only officials, but also some rich merchants. Now that the officials in Subei have changed, the stable relationship between the three parties has lost a corner. There is bound to be some friction. This is our chance. They looked at each other and saw the tacit understanding in each other's eyes. The next day, the business circle in Subei received the news that a generous merchant had come to Subei. It was said that he wanted to come out of Subei to buy some exotic treasures. This was not surprising. Over the years that Dahuan and the Northern Desert had maintained a peaceful relationship, there had always been merchants entering the Northern Desert through Subei. Not long ago, there was a merchant surnamed Yen who came out of Subei. It was said that the goods brought by the merchant surnamed Yen were very popular in the Northern Desert, especially among the Northern Desert women. With his rich family background, He Qingyu successfully entered the business circle in Subei. Their appointment had not been announced yet, so they acted independently of the government. The only one who knew their movements was Lord Fang. Fang Jia stayed by Lord Fang's side to help. The failure of the first negotiation had left a psychological shadow in many people's hearts. Compared to the Northern Desert, they had more concerns. After all, no one knew how long the Northern Desert people had been lurking in Subei, and how deep their understanding of Subei was. Before they figured this out, they wouldn't be able to do anything. When it came to the candidates for the next negotiation with the Northern Desert, Fang Jia stepped forward. "I am willing to give it a try. Well, you are a woman after all. Won't it be inconvenient? What's the difference between a man and a woman in the face of righteousness? Since I dared to speak, I must be confident. Instead of choosing someone who is unwilling to fail again, why don't you let me try? In terms of eloquence, few could compete with Feng Jiai. After a few words, all the officials were speechless. In the end, they had to admit that Feng Jiai was more suitable for the negotiation than anyone else. Miss Feng made the right choice this time. When Xin Yu heard the news from Shang Junlin, he couldn't help but laugh. The scene of this girl insulting the Prince of Yu was still vivid in his mind. Xin Yu had never seen the Prince of Yu being insulted like this. Your Majesty, Your Highness, the clothing bureau has sent the clothes. Eunuch Meng walked in with his head lowered. Let them in. As soon as Shang Junlin's voice fell, several palace servants came in with the clothes in their hands. Because of Shang Junlin's attention, these clothes were all made of the best materials, styles, and colors according to Xin Yu's preferences. You take a look and see if you like it. Shang Junlin walked over with Xin Yu and looked at the clothes one by one. His eyes stopped on a red dress for a long time. Xin Yu touched the clothes. Under the contrast of the fiery red clothes, her skin looked even fairer. Your Majesty seems to like this dress very much. Can I wear it for you tonight? Chapter 140. The young man's voice was very soft, but there was a hidden hook in his voice, which aroused the beautiful thoughts in his heart little by little. Shang Junlin's throat moved violently. You have to keep your word. The palace servants lowered their heads and wished they were pillars. Xin Yu let go of the red dress and turned to look at the other clothes. The rest of the clothes were light in color, which was in line with Xin Yu's usual dressing style. In addition to the clothes in the hands of the palace servants, there were some that were not yet completed. Xin Yu was the only one in the harem, and Shang Junlin had ordered that all the good clothes should be given to Xin Yu first. Why would Your Majesty want them to make a red dress? Xin Yu usually didn't wear this color, and it was not suitable for him to wear red in the palace due to his noble status. The red dress Au wore last time was very beautiful. On the night of their first time, Xin Yu also wore red and bloomed slowly in front of him. Xin Yu that night was so beautiful that he couldn't take his eyes off him. Xin Yu did what he said. That night, he changed into the red dress and appeared in front of Shang Junlin. Xin Yu's body had grown a little, and his facial features were more beautiful. Under the contrast of the red dress, he showed a kind of burning beauty. Your Majesty, do I look good? Xin Yu approached slowly. From the moment Xin Yu came out in the red dress, Shang Junlin's eyes never moved away from him. His eyes were burning. If the eyes could turn into something tangible, Xin Yu felt that he would be ignited. Very beautiful. Shang Junlin's voice was low and hoarse, with a strong sense of desire. Unlike last time, Xin Yu was dressed neatly today. His long hair was tied behind his head with a hairband of the same color. The red dress wrapped him tightly, not revealing anything, but it was more attractive. Xin Yu walked toward Shang Junlin. Before she could get close, she was pulled into Shang Junlin's arms. No matter what Au wears, no one can compare to her in my heart. Feeling the change in the man's body, Xin Yu's eyes flashed with a trace of ridicule. Your Majesty, no matter how nice your words are, we can only watch tonight. Shang Junlin grabbed his wrist and reached into his wide sleeve. 10 days have passed. Xin Yu pressed the man's hand in his sleeve and glanced at him. Your Majesty, have you forgotten what happened during the day? It was less than 10 days ago. Au. Shang Junlin sucked on her earlobe and ground it with his teeth. The numbness spread from her earlobes, and her Xin Yu trembled. The hand on the man's shoulder unconsciously tightened. A few more wrinkles appeared on the flat black dragon robe. Xin Yu was imprisoned in Shang Junlin's arms and could not escape. She could only let the man kiss her face, lips, neck, all the way down. The red petals unfolded, revealing the white snow inside. Soon, red plum blossoms bloomed on the snow. Xin Yu raised her head high, and her neck drew a beautiful arc. The red string slid down, and her long black hair spread out on the bed. A few strands fell in front of her chest and mixed with the man's hair, making it impossible to tell them apart. Half of her red dress fell on the bed, and the other half fell on the ground. The candlelight was bright, and she could vaguely see a figure moving. Occasionally, She could hear a few suppressed groans. The red candle was lit all night. When Xinyu woke up the next day, his whole body was in pain. He sat up and didn't know where he pulled. He couldn't help but take a deep breath. Shang Junlin lifted the bed curtain and saw Xinyu sitting up slowly. He quickly reached out to help him. "Why don't you sleep a little longer? What time is it?" Xinyu slowly sat up with Shang Junlin's help. "It's not noon yet." Compared to the previous times, Xinyu woke up early this time. Shang Junlin brought the honey water and fed it to Xinyu. Xinyu felt even more uncomfortable and ordered Shang Junlin, "Your Majesty, come here and lean on me." Shang Junlin sat on the bed and took Xinyu into his arms. He put his hand on Xinyu's waist and massaged it. "Are you still uncomfortable? What do you think, Your Majesty?" Xinyu asked angrily. Last night he asked Shang Junlin to stop several times. He scolded and cried, but Shang Junlin didn't stop. Instead he used more force. As long as Xinyu made a sound, Shang Junlin would become more agitated. Xinyu had no choice but to try not to make a sound. Where do you feel uncomfortable? I'll give you a massage." Xinyu lay on Shang Junlin's body and let him massage him. It had to be said that Shang Junlin was very talented in this aspect. After the massage, Xinyu's body was obviously less sore. After the discomfort in his body was relieved, Xinyu got up from the bed. When he was awake, he didn't like to lie on the bed. Other than on the bed, Shang Junlin would usually do whatever Xinyu wanted to do. Xinyu changed his clothes. He was still wearing light blue today. Shang Junlin took the red clothes. He asked Mushi, but Mushi said she didn't see it. Thinking of the marks left on the red clothes, Xinyu felt that it was good that Mushi didn't know. It would be best if Shang Junlin threw the red clothes away. He didn't want to wear red clothes in the short term. News from Subei kept coming back. Xinyu also knew that Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu were disguised as businessmen and were looking for a breakthrough in another way. Coincidentally, Yanzheng also sent back news. He had been doing business for many years and had his own connections. Although the relationship between Dahuan and the Northern Desert was tense, he didn't receive much trouble when he arrived in the Northern Desert, because he had prepared well in advance. On the contrary, the goods he brought were very popular. The people of the Northern Desert had different habits from the people of Dahuan. They were nomads who lived on the grassland all year round. Their clothing and living habits were very different from those of Dahuan. However, this didn't prevent the women of the Northern Desert from liking the clothes of Dahuan. The goods Yanzheng brought were popular with the women of all families in the capital, not to mention the Northern Desert, which had always been inferior to Dahuan in this aspect. Because most of the goods he sold were women's products, which were useless in the eyes of many men of the Northern Desert. Therefore they didn't guard against him. Yanzheng also gradually got in touch with noble ladies from the Northern Desert from the beginning. He even got in touch with the women of the royal family under the recommendation of these noble ladies. He got closer to these people while quietly investigating the movements of the Northern Desert. Is Boss Yan going back to Dahuan? At night, Yanzheng was invited by a noble lady to a banquet hosted by the nobles of the Northern Desert. Yanzheng took a sip of wine and said helplessly, "As you can see, my goods are almost sold out. I have to go back to restock. The things in Dahuan are so beautiful. It would be great if I could go and see them." The woman who spoke was wearing an exquisite hairpin. Her lips were also very beautiful. She wore the lipstick she bought from Yanzheng. "I wanted to. Before I met Boss Yan, I never knew that lipstick could come in so many colors. There are even lipsticks that are specially used for cleansing and washing my hands. Now I smell good every day. I like the smell. Do the women of Dahuan have these things when they are born?" "That's not the case," Yanzheng smiled. "These are all new products from the capital and have only been popular in Dahuan for a few days. I was lucky to be able to get the goods to sell in the Northern Desert. Other than in the hands of that person, these goods can't be imported anywhere else. This is also why I have to make a trip back." "So you're saying that not everyone in the Great Huan Kingdom can use these items?" The noble ladies looked at each other, their voices full of excitement. "Of course. I can guarantee that except for me, you can't buy these anywhere else. Will Boss Yen bring different goods the next time he comes?" I heard that the women of Dahuan like to decorate their nails beautifully. Can Boss Yan also bring some nail decorations next time? The other women followed and mentioned many things they wanted. Yan Zheng agreed to them one by one. He pretended to ask casually, "Many of the goods you mentioned are commonly used in Dahuan. Hasn't anyone come to sell them before?" "Yes, they have. Those people are not like Boss Yan. They only care about us. We can't use the things they bring." Yan Zheng's eyes flickered. "What do they usually sell?" Salt ironware tea. The noble ladies had dealt with him for a long time and didn't think much of it. "These things are indeed different from what I sell. Boss Yan, don't be like them. Remember to bring more things that are suitable for us next time." At the end of the banquet, many people were drunk. Yan Zheng also took the opportunity to ask for a lot of useful information. Yan Zheng's trip to the northern desert could be said to be fruitful. The goods he brought were far more popular than he expected. The return date was also earlier than planned. Yan Zheng brought the caravan back to Dahuan. Because he had a good relationship with many noble ladies, he didn't encounter any difficulties along the way. In the northern desert, the status of women was infinitely close to that of men. The power in their hands was no less than that of men. No one would dare to provoke Yan Zheng and his caravan under their protection. When he left, the caravan mostly brought women's products. When he returned, he brought back all kinds of goods that he had bought in the northern desert. The goods in Dahuan were very popular in the northern desert. Similarly, some goods from the northern desert were also very popular in Dahuan. After leaving the northern desert and arriving at the border of Subei, Yan Zheng used the method that Shunyu had given him to contact the hidden dragon guards who were hiding in Subei. He told them all the information that he had gathered in Subei. In order to avoid suspicion, he didn't dare to ask too much. However, because of his dealings with the noble ladies, he had a rough understanding of the internal situation of the northern desert. He didn't hide anything and told them everything. After that, he didn't stay in Subei for long. He continued to bring the caravan south. The news from the hidden dragon guards reached the capital earlier than Yan Zheng and his caravan. Ironware salt. Shang Junlin exerted force with his fingers, causing creases to appear on the secret letter. These are all prohibited from being sold to other countries. Looking at the news from the hidden dragon guards, they have made more than 1 or 2 transactions. These people might be related to the people from the northern desert who stayed in Subei. Is there any progress with Master Fang? The officials led by Fang Jiaoyi had a second negotiation with the northern desert. This time, the result was very smooth. They are willing to send the goods back. However, they haven't found anything that can be used against the people hiding in Subei. Subei had just experienced a disaster. On one hand, to stabilize the people's hearts, and on the other hand, to not alert the enemy. This matter wasn't made public. Only those who were involved in it knew the inside story. Speaking of which, Fang Jiai contributed a lot to the success of this negotiation. According to the news from Subei, at the beginning, the people from the northern desert saw that the negotiator was a woman and laughed at her. In the end, Fang Jiai shut them up with just a few words. Later on, she was even more skillful and forced the other party to retreat. Shang Junlin stroked Xinyu's hair. Thanks to a Yu's suggestion, Dahuan has gained another powerful member. Chapter 141. Fang Jiai's performance not only shocked the people of the northern desert, but also shocked the officials who came with her. They never knew that the second ranker of the banquet was so powerful. Now they could understand why His Majesty made an exception to allow women to become officials. With Fang Jiai's fighting ability, they couldn't even defeat a few of them. Didn't they see how the northern desert people who came to show off their strength turned pale in the end? Fortunately, Fang Jiai was on their side. This was the first thought in everyone's mind. After the negotiation, Fang Jiai found that the attitude of the officials who came with her changed when they interacted with her. After thinking for a while, she could guess the reason for the change. He must have been frightened by her performance today. Fang Jiai didn't care what these people thought. She just needed to do her own thing. The group of people returned to Subei with the supplies, and were warmly welcomed by the people. This lady is really powerful. She got the supplies back without using a single soldier. 2 days ago, Sube was under martial law. I wondered if there was going to be a war again. Me too. But I'm not afraid of war. It's only after His Majesty defeated the northern desert people that we can live a peaceful life. If there's a war again, I'll be the first to rush up. I don't think there will be any more wars. When that female official first came, I was curious. Is there no man in Dahuan? Why did they send a woman over? Now I understand. Even if it's a woman, she's not inferior to the other officials. I heard a lot of news from the people who came to help. It turns out that the court now allows women to become officials. At first, I didn't understand. Now it seems that His Majesty is far-sighted. So what if it's a woman? She can still achieve great things. Fang Jiai's action changed many people's views on women. In the Sube government, Fang Jiai, as the person who contributed the most, reported the operation. Whether it was the process or the result, it was greatly beyond their expectations. Originally, the Sube army was ready at the border. If the negotiations didn't go well, they would directly attack. But during the negotiation, the northern desert people were suppressed by them. No, to be precise, they were suppressed by Fang Jiai alone. Fang Jiai not only got the supplies back, but also compensation. Before they left, they thought that if they could get their supplies back, it would be considered a success. Who would have thought that in addition to the original supplies, they would also receive a lot of compensation? Until now, these people still felt a little dazed. I didn't even dare to think about this result. Looking at the compensation that was moved back, a younger official said, "That wasn't the case the last time. The last time I went with a few lords, the other party was so arrogant. Unlike this time, they don't even dare to speak loudly." The other officials who had participated in both cases nodded in agreement. They were too shocked. She was a woman, and she was not as tall as the northern desert people. She was not as strong as them, but her aura was enough to suppress them. When she opened her mouth, they could not even raise their heads. They were thinking about how to help her, and how to console her if she failed. But what happened? In the end, they watched as Fang Jiai's words became weaker and weaker. In the end, he agreed to everything she said. In fact, not only the northern desert people, but they were also dumbfounded. "You did well," Fang Jun said as he looked at the woman who was standing upright. She was his daughter, an official of the Great Huan dynasty, and his pride. So what if he, Fang Jun, only had one daughter in his life? His daughter was not worse than anyone else. This is what this official should do. Fang Jiai was neither servile nor overbearing. How did you think of getting the other party to compensate? Fang Jiai did not mention this matter to Fang Jun from beginning to end. At first, this official was not sure if I could do it. Later, when I met with the other party, I realized that it was not as difficult as I imagined. Since the other party was willing to admit their mistakes, they naturally had to take responsibility for their wrongdoings. So you made the other party pay a heart-wrenching amount of compensation? The officials who heard the conversation were in a daze. Well done. Fang Jun patted Fang Jiai on the shoulder. Our Dahuan officials should be like this. The others came back to their senses and nodded. That's right, they had Dahuan behind them. No matter what, they could not tarnish Dahuan's reputation. All right, thank you for your hard work on this trip. This official has already booked a banquet at the largest restaurant in Sube to welcome everyone. Official Fang's words were met with unanimous approval. The group of people changed out of their official robes and arrived at the restaurant in a grandiose manner. Fang Jiai was clustered in the center. Now, everyone did not care about the difference between men and women. Their admiration for Fang Jiai made them temporarily put aside their gender concerns. So what if she was a woman? They only knew that Fang Jiai had made a great contribution this time. Fang Jiai picked up the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. When she put down the cup, there were a few more people around her. Darren, let us toast you. Do you have something to say to me? Fang Jiai saw their sparkling eyes and took the initiative to ask. Yes. One of them mustered up the courage and looked straight into Fang Jiai's eyes. We want to tell Darren that we admire Darren very much. Yes. The others nodded vigorously. Fang Jiai nodded. Also, We were not able to see the negotiation this time. Could Darren tell us what happened at that time? This time, not only them, but the people in the other seats also pricked up their ears. Even the people who went with them looked over curiously. Fang Jiai looked at them one by one, and finally looked at Fang Jun. Fang Jun nodded at her. Fang Jiai stood up. At that time, it was like this. The hall quieted down, and only Fang Jiai's voice echoed. Following her description, they seemed to have returned to the scene of the negotiation once again. They saw the aggressive Northern Desert people at the beginning. They saw the Northern Desert people's momentum gradually weaken under Fang Jiao's words. They saw Fang Jiao arguing with the group of scholars. When they reappeared, they realized that the negotiation was far from as easy as they had imagined. The Northern Desert people were aggressive, and there were countless hidden traps behind every word. If they were not careful, they would fall into the trap and be doomed eternally. But Fang Jiai was calm from the beginning to the end. She used offense as defense and was not afraid of any trap. She forced the Northern Desert people to retreat and defend themselves. Because of this, Fang Jiao took the initiative little by little. They could not help but ask themselves, if they were present at that time, would they be able to do what Fang Jiai did? No. This victory belonged to Fang Jiai. No one could replace her. Miss Fang is very talented in this area. After listening to the entire process of the negotiation, Xinyu sighed. Your Majesty can't let her talent be buried. What do you think about letting her enter Honglu Temple? Honglu Temple was an organization in Dahuan that was responsible for foreign affairs. The officials there had relatively little involvement with the imperial court, and were mainly responsible for connecting with other countries. Does Your Majesty still want her to stay in Subei? Staying in Subei was to accumulate experience. If she went to Honglu Temple, it would not make much difference whether she stayed in Subei or not. Let's wait for the matter in Subei to end first. If we really catch the Northern Desert people hiding in Subei, it will be good for Fang Jiao to stay there. Xinyu instantly understood Shang Junlin's idea. When they caught the Northern Desert people hiding in Subei, they would definitely connect with the Northern Desert. No matter what, the Northern Desert had to give Dahuan an explanation. If Fang Jiai stayed there, based on the success of this negotiation, she would definitely be arranged to deal with this matter when the time came. Your Majesty is very thoughtful. With this premise, if she enters Honglu Temple again, those officials will have nothing to say. They wanted to stop her, but she had really made a great contribution. Even if they did not want to admit it, they could only pinch their noses and accept it. Shang Junlin was reviewing the memorials. Xinyu was sitting beside him, bored. He casually flipped open one of the memorials that hadn't been reviewed, and made a sound of surprise. What's wrong? Shang Junlin looked up. Your Majesty said before that you want to set up an examination different from the imperial examination, to select people who can enter the Ministry of Works. How is it going? Originally, the Ministry of Rights was already preparing for it to be held this autumn. However, too many things happened this year, so the scale was reduced. It will only be held in the capital. Some people will be selected to enter the Ministry of Works, and see if there is anything that can be improved. Shang Junlin took the memorials from Xinyu's hands, and found that it talked about this matter. The memorials were written by the Minister of Works, asking for the specific date of the examination. Xinyu only remembered this when he saw it. There were 3 dates initially, which were September, October, and November. Now that September had passed, they could only choose October or November. If it's set in October, will there be enough time? If the scale is smaller, there's still time. This matter has already been leaked to the public. The necessary preparations should be almost done. Since ancient times, no dynasty had done such a thing. The imperial examination was to select talents to enter the imperial court as officials. However, this examination was different. It was equivalent to giving an officially recognized title. It didn't have any real power. Other than entering the Ministry of Works or a new department that had little to do with the imperial court in the future, it had no other use. Because of this, the focus of this examination wasn't on education, but a certain skill. As long as you had a skill, you could participate in the examination. After passing the examination, you could choose whether to enter the Ministry of Works or not. Then let's do it earlier. I think the Minister of Works is almost asking Your Majesty to send more people to him. Xinyu had seen the Minister of Works pass the memorials several times, and felt that the Ministry of Works didn't have enough people. Now that the Ministry of Works had money and technology, the Minister of Works had finally found an opportunity. He wouldn't give up until he made some achievements. Okay, then let's set the date at the end of October. Shang Junlin wrote a comment on the memorials. Xinyu flipped through a few more memorials. After a few glances, he put them back uninterestedly. He picked up the unfinished storybooks and continued reading. Halfway through, Xinyu thought of something and poked Shang Junlin's arm. The man raised his head and looked at him in confusion. Your Majesty, do you still remember the storybooks we read the first time we left the palace? Why haven't I seen anything similar after that? Xinyu supported his chin with one hand. His eyes were full of confusion. The storybooks he read were all popular in the capital. It didn't make sense that there wasn't a single one. Ayu is talking about the one that was written based on us? Xinyu nodded. Ayu wants to read it? Shang Junlin had a subtle expression on his face. Your Majesty, don't you think it's quite interesting? The literary talent is also not bad. Maybe we can learn something useful from it. Xinyu's voice became lower and lower. This was because he saw Shang Junlin take out a few books from a hidden compartment and put them in front of him one by one. I didn't know that you would be interested in this. Chapter 142. So, it's not that they don't exist, but that they have all been hidden by Your Majesty? Xinyu flipped open one of the books. He had an impression of this book. It was the one he saw outside the palace. Xinyu had thought that these books were thrown away by Shang Junlin, or left in the house outside the palace. He did not expect them to be so close to him. He was speechless for a moment. I thought you wouldn't want to see them. Shang Junlin stopped looking at the booklets and picked up one of the books. Why would Your Majesty think so? Xinyu looked away from the book and turned to Shang Junlin, a trace of curiosity flashing in his eyes. Shang Junlin did not answer his question. Instead, he said, Ayu, if you don't mind, I won't keep them for you in the future. Xinyu stared at Shang Junlin without blinking. He looked at the scarlet color that crept up from his neck to his cheeks. Xinyu smiled. Did Your Majesty really keep them for me because you were worried that I would not be able to accept them? After the last time, I thought that Your Majesty would not allow them to continue writing. Shang Junlin looked away under Xinyu's burning gaze. Why would you think so? I have this intuition. Xinyu's intuition was right. Shang Junlin would not allow others to write about him and Xinyu, especially if the writing was so erotic and explicit. Therefore, after that day, Shang Junlin found the author through the hidden dragon guards. After a friendly conversation, Shang Junlin did not take back the author's right to write the books. Instead, he restricted the content. The books that were released to the public could not be as explicit as before, and there could not be a third person in between the two of them. As for the original books with explicit descriptions, Shang Junlin bought them at a high price. That person was quite bold. Seeing that he had not angered the nobleman, he wrote another book, but he did not distribute it to the public. Instead, he gave it to Shang Junlin. Shang Junlin accepted it silently. This was equivalent to tacit approval. That person then wrote another edition while writing the normal edition. Without exception, these books were all kept by Shang Junlin. Xinyu continued to flip through these books. The content was the same as before. He felt a little strange. According to Shang Junlin's temperament, he shouldn't have allowed this kind of book to be widely circulated. Xinyu didn't know, but in a sense he was right. Shang Junlin wouldn't allow such a book to spread. Ayu's intuition is wrong, Shang Junlin retorted without changing his expression. How can I be such a narrow-minded person? Xinyu looked at the book and then glanced at Shang Junlin. He didn't say whether he believed it or not. He didn't intend to argue with Shang Junlin on this matter. With the new novel, Xinyu didn't bother Shang Junlin anymore. He was quite interested in the follow-up of the novel. Although the novel was based on him and Shang Junlin, The content was different. The person who wrote the novel was very skillful. The two protagonists were described very vividly. No wonder it was so popular. Xinyu half leaned on the soft couch and slightly lowered his head. A few strands of hair fell from his cheeks and disappeared into his light-colored clothes. His white and slender fingers pressed on the pages of the book. He was more beautiful than any jade Shang Junlin had ever seen. Putting down the booklet in his hand, Shang Junlin walked over and held Xinyu's hand. Xinyu was interrupted. He raised his head in confusion. "Your Majesty?" Shang Junlin lifted Xinyu's chin and leaned over to kiss him. "This situation is just right." Xinyu was stunned for a moment, but he didn't refuse the kiss. Shang Junlin's kiss was very gentle at first. After receiving Xinyu's response, he suddenly increased the intensity of his kiss. Xinyu snorted. His hand that was pressed against Shang Junlin's chest turned into a push. His other hand was still under Shang Junlin's palm. The hot temperature began to spread from the place where they touched. After the kiss, Shang Junlin sat on the soft couch and held Xinyu in his arms. Xinyu's breath was unstable. He leaned on Shang Junlin's shoulder and panted slightly. "Why did your Majesty suddenly kiss me? Didn't you say that he wanted to use the content of the novel as a reference?" Shang Junlin picked up the novel that Xinyu crumpled and put it in front of Xinyu. "Just in time. We can try it." Xinyu looked down and hurriedly looked away. Reading by himself and being held in someone's arms were two completely different levels of stimulation. Do you want to try it? I will only do what is in the novel." Shang Junlin leaned close to Xinyu's ear and said in a coaxing tone, You can stop it at any time." Xinyu was imprisoned in Shang Junlin's arms. His fragile neck was also in Shang Junlin's hands. He trembled with Shang Junlin's movements. The familiar feeling aroused the heat in his body. "Your Majesty, you have to keep your word." It turned out that sometimes Shang Junlin's words couldn't be trusted. Xinyu lay on the soft couch. Under the influence of the aftertaste, his eyes were a little unfocused. Shang Junlin was like a hungry wolf. After biting a piece of meat, he refused to let go. "I'll carry you to wash up." Shang Junlin strode in with a satisfied face. Xinyu turned his neck with difficulty. He didn't want to speak. He was sweating all over. His clothes were sticking to his body. For someone who loved cleanliness, this wasn't a good experience. Shang Junlin picked him up and said, "Didn't you say that you want to try it? Why are you not willing now?" "I'll keep my word this time. It's fine if you don't want to wash up." Shang Junlin pretended to carry Xinyu to the bed. Xinyu's eyes widened. He angrily bumped Shang Junlin and said, "I'm going to wash up." Shang Junlin had a strange obsession in certain aspects. Xinyu resisted several times, but it only made things worse for him. In the end, he simply couldn't be bothered. Xinyu used to be in a state of drowsiness or semi-drowsiness most of the time. It was very rare for him to be awake like today. Xinyu didn't breathe a sigh of relief until he was put into the bathtub. Xinyu's fatigue was effectively relieved under the hot water. He slowly breathed a sigh of relief. He leaned against the edge of the bathtub and half closed his eyes. Suddenly, Xinyu opened his eyes and asked, "What is your Majesty doing?" Shang Junlin held Xinyu's shoulder with one hand and dipped the other into the water. "If you don't clean up, you'll get sick." Xinyu's fingers on the edge of the bathtub tightened. The redness on his skin deepened. This feeling was too strange. Ripples appeared on the surface of the water. Finally, after the bath, Xinyu was carried out. His whole body was soft. His porcelain-like skin was dyed light pink. It was unknown whether it was soaked in the hot water or for some other reason. After fooling around for a day, Shang Junlin's official business was delayed. He didn't want to be too far away from Xinyu, so he didn't put Xinyu on the bed. Instead, he carried him back to the soft couch. After a while, the dirty things on the soft couch were taken away by the palace servants and replaced with clean ones. Xinyu was held in his arms and read the booklets with him. During this period, they ordered a meal. It was all good food. After the meal, Xinyu was lazy and didn't want to move. Shang Junlin put away the booklets. It just so happened that Xinyu didn't want to see them for a while. The sky gradually darkened. Xinyu yawned. Shang Junlin put down the booklets in his hands and asked, "Are you sleepy?" A little. At night, some people were falling asleep, while others were just starting to get busy. Zubei. He Qingyu and Jiang Huiqing changed into luxurious clothes. Under the guidance of the servants, they walked into a seemingly inconspicuous house. They used their new identities to travel in Zubei for many days. Finally, they found an opportunity to establish a relationship with a local businessman. He Qingyu was born in an aristocratic family and had always been cultivated as the family's heir. The He family had a lot of businesses outside. As the next family head, he was no stranger to the business world. Jiang Huiqing had even asked him if his family was in the business because of how skillful he was at it. He Qingyu laughed and said, "If my family was in the business world, I wouldn't be here today." Jiang Huiqing thought about it and felt that it was true. He quickly apologized. Jiang Huiqing couldn't help but suspect that He Qingyu was really a businessman. Seeing how He Qingyu was acting like he was a rich businessman, Jiang Huiqing couldn't help but wonder if He Qingyu was really a businessman. A businessman's behavior was much better than that of a scholar. While his thoughts were running wild, the two walked through the corridor and arrived at the main hall. Jiang Huiqing quickly collected his thoughts and looked around without leaving a trace. The house looked ordinary from the outside, but after entering, he discovered that it was a completely different world inside. There were fake mountains, flowing water, and winding corridors. Everything was unique. "Brother Gu, you're finally here. Come in quickly." Both of them used fake names. He Qingyu pretended to be the older brother and had all the right to speak. Jiang Huiqing was the younger brother, who followed the older brother out to gain experience. After entering the inner hall, the sound of music and the smell of wine assaulted the two of them. The lights were brightly lit, and the atmosphere was blissful. Dancers dressed in thin clothes danced gracefully to the music, the bells on their bodies jingling as they danced. He Qingyu led Jiang Huiqing to a person he had befriended recently. "I'm late. I'm willing to drink a cup as punishment." After saying this, he boldly picked up a cup filled with wine and drank it in one gulp. Seeing his forthright attitude, the person laughed and patted He Qingyu's shoulder. "Do you know what I like about you the most? It's the strength in your bones. This is a banquet for pleasure, so there's nothing to be late about. Come, let me introduce you to a few of my best friends. If you want to do business in Zubei in the future, you'll have to rely on them." He Qingyu pretended to be excited. "Thank you, Boss Sun." Boss Sun introduced He Qingyu to a circle of people. He Qingyu memorized the appearance and basic information of these people. With a few words, he made the other party lower their attitude and start talking. Jiang Huiqing pretended to be inexperienced and looked around curiously. Because He Qingyu wanted to talk about business, he sent him to the side to play. The banquet lasted until midnight. When it ended, Boss Sun came over with two beautiful dancers. He looked like an experienced person. When you're outside, you must have one or two close friends by your side. If Boss Gu doesn't mind, you can bring these two back. Boss Sun narrowed his eyes and looked at the two for a while. Then he lowered his voice. "These two are a pair of twins. The taste is not ordinary. They'll be perfect to serve Boss Gu." He Qingyu didn't refuse and left with the two women. After returning, Jiang Huiqing was about to say something when he saw He Qingyu holding his forehead and shaking his body. Without thinking, Jiang Huiqing supported He Qingyu before the two women hit him. "What's wrong? Maybe I drank too much. Help me back to my room to lie down." Jiang Huiqing looked at He Qingyu, whose eyes were not clear, and looked at the two women awkwardly. "What about these two? Let them rest in the room in the south for the night. I have a terrible headache. We'll talk about the rest tomorrow." Jiang Huiqing hurriedly handed the two women to the servant, and then helped He Qingyu back to his room. "Do you need me to bring a bowl of hangover soup?" Jiang Huiqing helped him to the bed and sat down. He turned around and was about to leave when his wrist was grabbed. "No need." He Qingyu's voice was not drunk at all. Jiang Huiqing turned around and saw He Qingyu looking at him with a smile. "I really thought you were drunk." Jiang Huiqing sighed in relief and sat down on a chair. "How can I fool those two dancers if I don't pretend to be drunk? Were those two sent to keep an eye on us?" Jiang Huiqing asked thoughtfully. "We just entered this circle. It's normal for them to be worried and send someone to keep an eye on us. I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with those two, but it's never wrong to be cautious, Qingyu said. That's true. But won't those people be suspicious if we just let them stay in the Fu and do nothing? Do we have to pretend to be drunk every day? Jiang Huiqing frowned slightly. Since he said the word serve, it was obvious what those two were sent to do. No need. Qingyu chuckled. It's just that in the future, I'll have to trouble you to put on a show with me. What's the show? Jiang Huiqing was curious. You just have to throw a tantrum at me occasionally, especially in front of those two, Qingyu said with a smile. That's it? You don't have to do anything else? Jiang Huiqing was full of questions. Qingyu. No need. Just do everything else as usual. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.